The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, August 10th. I am independent journalist Georgia Ford. This morning, we take a look at the amount of new COVID cases nationwide. According to the CDC, there's more than 235,000 cases reported just yesterday alone. And so as our nation turns into this next phase, trying to fight these new variants and figure out exactly how to safely send our children back to school, some of us are being misled by our faith leaders and their approach to how to fight COVID. Take a listen at what one pastor had to say about it during his sermon this weekend.
Authorized the Tennessee Department of FEMA to build what they call, in his own authorized pages of a signature, quarantine camps. I ain't talking about East Germany. I'm talking about Tennessee. Quarantine camps for the uninformed people that are still in refusal to be vaccinated. Look, if that don't bother you, you might as well show up at another church next week, because I'm going to keep raising Cain about all this nonsense. I don't care what Bill Lee says. I don't care what fraudulent fake Joe Biden says. I don't care what Planned Parenthood says. I don't care what Chris Cuomo said. I don't care what Gavin Newsom said. I don't care what Nancy Pelosi and her insurrectionist nonsense has to say. You better wake up, church. You better wake up. They hate us. We are speed bumps to the deep state on the road to their progressive communism. And I'll shout it from the rooftop if I'm the last one. I live by what I say, and I will die by what I say if I have to. I'll fight this garbage until my dying breath.
Now, that is Greg Locke there, Ben. I know that we've talked about him, in previous episodes, but for him to stand in front of his congregation, hundreds of people, as you can see there, standing, clapping, in agreement with what he's saying, but know that some of the information he shared was just simply not true.
Oh, that's Greg Locke. His entire ministry is not true. That's his gift. I've known him for years, and I think he's asking us to. I think he's given us an invitation to come visit him because he's spreading so much misinformation here, and it's so dangerous. And he's using the religion, like we've seen religion used as a tool in the past, historically, as a bludgeoning tool, a tool of oppression. But now he's using it as a direct tool of, honestly, murder, because his audience, his following, they're the ones who are going to get sick. They're in that number. 200,000 people in a single day got COVID-19 confirmed, right? No telling how many people have not checked in because they're asymptomatic. That means messages like these are 100% going to spread COVID-19. So not only is he spreading misinformation, he's spreading death.
Well, and you heard him there in his sermon say, I will fight this until my last breath. Right. And those words haunt me because of how serious this illness is and how quickly it is spreading. And so if you are not taking it serious, if you're not taking the vaccine serious, wearing a mask serious, you legitimately might be spreading misinformation till your last breath, because you might end up catching it and dying from it, like more than 600,000 people have across this nation.
That's right. And to think that, just think of the absurdity of it all. Think of the fact that I would venture to say, Georgia, that probably over 550,000 of those 630,000 who died did not have to die. And the reason those people are dead today permanently, they're not coming back, Greg Locke. It's because of the amount of misinformation, politicization, and ridiculousness that surrounded the response to COVID-19, as it was fueled by -45, Donald Trump. And Greg Locke is trying his best to get access to that gravy train of all that money that comes if you're willing to trade your God for Donald Trump.
You know, I thought church was supposed to be about God. And here we're seeing pastors now turning this more into a political campaign, a campaign against certain candidates or certain politicians. And it feels in some sense like spiritual abuse.
Spiritual gaslighting. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you have your congregation who is trusting you to be a speaker of truth, to be a person who is standing on the word of God. And let's be clear, the things that this man just said, Greg Locke, is not the word of God. This is not something that you would find in the Bible. And so also I just wonder about the faith community and what stance the faith community is taking in general against pastors who are using their platform and their congregation in the name of God to spread misinformation.
I'd love to have Rebecca in on this conversation, and we'll have her in later on because she has a really good vantage point on this from a person who attended a white-led, majority Black congregation. And I think I'm describing it right. If I'm wrong, she'll. But it's very similar to that the Paula White types of congregations, that there are white leaders who imitate the Black affect, the Black ministerial. And then what they do, though, is they make the money off of the Black populations and then spread this misinformation to our communities and spread white supremacy to our communities. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I thought you were done. So I'm sorry, but it vexes my spirit to know that you have people who are out here standing in the name of Jesus, standing in the name of any religion and who they believe in, and instead of preaching the principles of what that religion believes, instead of being an example, you are politicizing the pulpit.
Oh yeah. No, see, so by default, the pulpit is a political tool. And I think the real thing that needs to happen is that I think Black pastors need to understand that you have the right to do the same thing for your own political beliefs. See, these pastors are walking a thin line, and they're the only thing that you can't do. Let's be clear. Can I just, because I've studied this, I've been in a former life, I was a pastor, right? I had a startup ministry. And let me tell you what you cannot do as a pastor. Your church cannot make an endorsement of a political campaign or candidate. That's it. That's really where the rubber meets the road. Everything else is everything. I mean, take this guy, for example. He preaches Donald Trump every Sunday, and Black pastors are afraid to preach the liberation gospel. Look at how Black pastors abandoned Jeremiah Wright in 2008. So maybe the thing is for us not to limit so much how much they're using their pulpits for political purposes. Maybe we need to show Black pastors how they need to use their pulpit for political purposes, so long as their purposes is the liberation of all people. That is.
And Greg Locke is not the only one. I want you guys to take a listen to this clip from Joshua Feuerstein. I believe I'm saying that correctly. His message, I think, is even more dangerous.
Understand, and let me speak now to the cameras around the world, to every pastor that's watching this broadcast, to every Christian that is cowered in your home. I realize that for this last year that maybe you've been fed fear and fear and fear, but the Bible says that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. You have a sound mind. You don't have to wear the mask. You got Jesus. You don't need the vaccine. You got Jesus.
He's sitting there looking like a whole ass comorbidity, telling people not to get the vaccine. I'm sorry, brother. You the first person that need to be in line to get a vaccine, using the name of using Jesus as the justification by which you're going to lead your sheep to the slaughter. These people are operating that. I'm sorry. It's a shame that evangelicals don't realize they're the Antichrist.
You know, faith without works is dead. If you don't go get your vaccine, if you don't wear your mask,
you're dead.
You have to do your part. Okay. Jesus will do his part, but the Bible is clear. The word of God is clear. You have to do your part. And when the evidence is there, when it has been proven, and you just go out here negligently going against everything that has been proven that you should do, I just
see. This is what happens. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, sis.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
This is what happens when when we allow whiteness, not white people. There are some dynamic white ministers and white folks who are allies who are fighting. Check out Father Flager in Chicago. You know, he is actively, as best as I can remember. Now, I don't know. I haven't checked in on him in a year, so I don't know. But there are some good white allies is the point. And some of them are preachers. Right. But it is when we allow whiteness and white supremacy, like Paula white supremacists, to sample, to become the simulacrum. And we put them in the pulpit and we go to their congregations and we give them their tithes. And then they turn those tithes into these little media empires. Where these two guys have been working on this, on their media empires, as long as I have. Fancy that. I've been following these. And I know, as a matter of fact, Greg Locke owes me a debate. I have a DM from him back in 2019. He owes me a debate. So I think it's time for me to pull up on both of these guys.
Yeah. I definitely think it'd be interesting to hear what they have to say and how they, in their minds, are justifying using the pulpit in this manner. But I think that it's not only dangerous, but it's going to prove to be deadly. Even when you look at all of those people that are standing, you have hundreds of people. None of them are wearing masks. And if they're not vaccinated, think about how the church setting can be a space for, it could be a super spreader, right? There was actually one church, I can't remember what city it was, but just over the course of 2 weeks, you had 9 people who tested positive, 6 of them hospitalized. And so if people don't start to buckle down and really take this new iteration, these new variants seriously. And again, I know we've had these conversations about kids going back to school, but think about this. At the beginning of the pandemic, the most vulnerable population were our elders, the senior community. And the reason being is because, you know, they're immune compromised, they're older, they have underlying health conditions. And so they were the first to get vaccinated. So now that population is actually more protected than our children. And so now the tables have turned, and the most vulnerable population are children who are underage, who don't qualify for the vaccine. So we're getting ready to go, back to school. A lot of parents are going back into the workplaces, which means what? Their kids are going back to daycare. All of these social settings, all of these professional settings that we're subjecting ourselves to are going to be opportunities for the virus to spread.
We are living in the bad timeline, folks. That's all I got to say. I'm sorry, Georgia.
No, I mean, it's a lot to take in, but we only have a few minutes left here on the clock, and so I want to take this time to talk about the climate change report that was published by the UN. They cited 14,000 different research documents to put this report together. And it's a report that says basically code red for humanity that we are failing in our stewardship of the earth. There was a great analysis and breakdown of this on Democracy Now! So we'll start with this, and then Ben, I have a lot that I want to ask you about on this, but let's start with the clip first.
Its Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has issued its gravest warning yet, saying major irreversible climate catastrophe is unavoidable, that the world has a narrowing window to make drastic changes to prevent even greater devastation. That's according to the IPCC's first climate assessment in 8 years, which shows the world is on track to surpass an average temperature rise of 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, failing to meet the goals of the Paris Climate Agreement. Even if the goal is met, the world will still have to contend with fast melting Arctic ice, sea level rise, and the warming and acidification of oceans, all of which contribute to more extreme weather events, including droughts, floods, wildfires, and deadly heat waves. The IPCC does not offer recommendations to governments, but the UN says countries need to immediately move away from fossil fuels and to stop adding carbon to the atmosphere by 2050 in order to slow or halt the most catastrophic outcomes. In Northern California, the Dixie fire exploded in size over the weekend to become the largest single fire in California history, with 500,000.
Let's hold it, David. Let's hold it there, because the first half was devastating enough.
Yeah, and she's going more in depth there now on the fires specifically in California. But the first portion of what she was saying was outlining the details of the climate change report that was published by the United Nations. Ben, what are your thoughts on climate change?
I think we need to ask ourselves the question: did the government handle COVID-19 well? What do you think they're going to do to the rest of us during the impending climate disaster that is on the horizon? These people absolutely have no regard for human life. They're fatalists. They don't care, because they already live in a level of isolation from the rest of humanity that gives them the ability to think that they can survive without us. And so they are dumb enough to believe that they can lead us into, when I say they, the ruling elite, the rich, the oligarchs, the Michael Bloombergs of the world, the Jeff Bezoses of the world, and all the politicians they own, including some Democrats, some.
You know, and for me, when I look at climate change, you have a number of people who don't even believe in climate change, despite all of the signs, the flooding, the fires. And when you talk about that rich population, Ben, it brings me back to the very foundation of this country. When you had settlers, colonizers who came here and told those who were native to this land that they were uncivilized and that they were going to make this a nation that was going to be civilized, and all of the tall buildings and the inventions, the cars with the, emissions, and all of the things that we have done to the earth, which has contributed to where we are today, which is basically leading us on a path of destruction. So much so that you have rich people who are investing in research of moving to other planets because they know the end is coming. But instead of preventing the end, instead of a mass push by the government, which they could do, we know that we could switch over to electrical vehicles, and that would be better for the earth. There's so many things that we could do, so many small changes, but guess what? It would cost money, and it would impact somebody's bottom line.
Yeah, and it'll impact the kind of food we like to eat, because if we cut, and I'm not saying this as if I have attained this, I seek to apprehend the ability to not eat beef, but it is the emissions that come out of those cows that are because of our mass consumption of beef around the globe, particularly in the United States. That is, we can't worry about anybody else. Look at what the United States is doing. If we fix our house, particularly our military, the amount of waste and the emissions that come from our military alone, and capitalism, we are creating this disaster. And you see how they handled COVID-19, folks. What do you think they're going to do when they have to escape to Elysium in order to escape what they created, the climate disaster below?
You know, even in northern Minnesota, just 2-3 hours north of where I live, there are currently protests that are happening to stop the construction of Line 3. And if you followed what happened in the Dakotas, even for the big pipeline protest and encampment that happened there, you've been hearing from thousands of people for decades to stop the harm on our earth. And specifically, when you look at these pipelines that are built largely underwater, under large bodies of water, to transport oil. Look at what happened. What was that in New Orleans when there was the huge oil spill?
George, I'm literally putting that in the chat right now, telling David if he could grab that. Remember when the water itself was on fire and it looked like something out of a movie. It looked like a portal into hell. Folks, that is all part of what's going on.
You know, when you look at the packaging of what our food comes in, what our laundry detergent comes in, all the plastic. We have become a nation that is basically contributing everything we do. It feels like is contributing to our whole entire way of life, is contributing to the destruction of this globe.
That's right. Because listen, everything about our life has been commodified, right? And monetized. I mean those two things very specifically. I don't have enough time to unpack them, so let's call that foreshadowing. Every single part of our life has been corporatized so that someone can make money. And so every product that you have actually contributes to this. But look at that portal into hell. My goodness. This is not CGI. This is not a movie. This is someone's cell phone footage as they escaped to safety because they had to abandon. My best guess is that they were leaving and abandoning that oil rig in the Gulf. Georgia, we don't talk about climate change. Well, let me say, because this show is new on my channel, I have not talked about climate change enough, but we're changing that today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and I hear that you have some new details that you're going to share on the Amazon story that you've been following. So for those of you watching, make sure you stay around for that. But we are on the clock and the clock has run out. So I will see you all tomorrow. Stick around for more on the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Good morning, everyone. Stay tuned. Your boy DJ Exclusive is coming up next. But while we wait, here's some good tunes. Good morning, y'all.
Fly, I know. I'm still fly, let's go. It could all be worse, I could be a hater like you. It could all be worse. Clothes to make the man, but that poison's gonna chew you from the inside out. So right now, say it with your chest now, say it with your chest now. I'm young, I'm free, can't nobody take me here.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning again. Your boy DJ Exclusive is in the building. More coming up next from the Benjamin Dixon Show, y'all. Make sure you stay tuned. Shout out to Georgia for good morning, Georgia.
I'm free, can't nobody take me
doing something different this morning. I'm using 2 laptops. One got my music and the other one got me. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. David says, show off. I know sometimes you got to flex a little bit. They have no choice, because if not, then I'll run the music up the other computer. It will shut off on us. And that is on the new laptop. And I think I know the reason, but we're figuring it out. We're getting it ready. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Only thing is now I can't sync my music up like I wanted to, but that's okay. I'm still the stuff. I hope so. It could all be words. I could be a hater like you. It could all be words. Clothes to make the man, but that poison's gonna kill you. From the inside out, it's time to say it with your chest now. Say it with your chest now. I'm young, I'm free. Can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to run it out. Make sure that you stay tuned, y'all. I got a good joke for y'all this morning. Got a good joke. It's gonna be hilarious. Can't nobody take. Good morning, y'all. Shout out to everybody that is streaming this morning. Shout out to everyone on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're streaming from. Good morning. It's my time to run. Say yeah, yeah. If you're on a train, say yeah, yeah. If you gotta walk, say yeah, yeah. Everybody's going somewhere, yeah. Young or old, I really don't care, yeah. Life has never really been fair, yeah. So put your fist up in the air, yeah. Say yeah. I'm young, I'm free. Can't nobody take me here and now. Good morning, everybody. Good morning again. Here and now, it's my time to run it out. Tiger said the viewer count went up when Buff said he had a joke. The algorithm has spoken. Let me find out they like the jokes. Taco Tuesday. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Make sure that you stay tuned. We got the Benjamin Dixon Show coming up next, followed by Like It or Not. Make sure you stay tuned, y'all.
Tell them I need my money right now. Brought me the juice, they stole out my crown. Yeah. Sorry to tell you, I know my value. I'm gonna recoup, yeah. But don't waste my energy, my energy. I don't got much, don't be wasting all my energy. I keep it tight, don't let nobody get close to me.
Shout out to Tiger in the chat. Tiger the fool. Tiger, I can't stand you.
I thought we would be just fine, and I thought your heart was like mine. But let me find out, you've been going around throwing shots, running plots. Come on, man, tryna block my blessings, but no need for comparisons. What's from me won't be from me. Yeah, I'ma go through just to grow.
Make sure that you stay tuned, y'all. We'll be starting momentarily. Make sure that you stay tuned.
True. Tell them I need my money right now. Brought me the juice, they stole out my crown. Yeah. Sorry to tell you, I know my value. I'm gonna recoup, yeah. Don't waste my loyalty, my loyalty. I let you in back then because I couldn't see, but now it's clear you ain't ever been true to me. My intuition ain't never lied, I had to leave.
Okay, sorry it's a start up. You just wanna cut up in the car, tell her start it up. I don't wanna see it from your eyes unless it's Cartier. Ran into my old chick, she said you ain't playing fair. Playing fair, playing fair. No, I ain't playing fair. Playing fair, playing fair. No, I ain't playing fair. Asked her why she staying there, she said she don't know. I had to ask some more. know, but I really had to go and get my bop on. Yeah, I get my bop on. If she needs some good, tell her she can hop on. She know I'm the top.
All right, y'all, it's about time. About that time. It's about that time. Welcome my brother from another mother to the screen, y'all. It's time for Benjamin Dixon. Brother Ben. Good morning, brother.
Oh, man. My microphone is hot as what's going on? DJ Exclusive on the 1 and 2s. How's it going, brother?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. I'm still laying low. You know,
I'm
not letting
say,
everybody
man,
know where I am.
we miss seeing your face.
Yeah, man. I'm out here in these streets, man. I'm my healthiest place. The healthiest place for me to be is in the streets, doing this work. But it's just so like, why in the world why did this street ministry bug hit me during the Delta Plus variant? And now I hear something about a Lambda variant. What?
More variants than the TVA. And if y'all know what the TVA is, it's the Time Variety Association from Loki. I digress.
I was like, hey, I have not had a chance to watch Loki yet. I have to get up on that.
Oh, yes, sir.
I was into Handmaid's Tale real heavy, like heavy, but I don't know. There's a part of that show that I don't know. Something snapped at me a couple weeks back, man, and looking at them have to create this. Margaret, I love it. First of all, let me say I done stepped into something. I have to finish the thought. It's going to get me in trouble, James. But now I got to finish it. I got to say I love Handmaid's Tale. Absolutely love that show. But when I realized, I think what it was is I met Brother Mac, and we start talking about the history of our people, and we started talking about the stuff that our ancestors went through on a daily basis. And we talked about how mothers had to make this choice, the decision to jump over the ship because they would rather die with their kids in the ocean than to allow their kids, or, you know, the story of Beloved, right? That's based on like our ancestors went through some real trauma. And I'm not just talking about slavery. Heck, our parents went through some real traumas, you know? So much so that trauma is literally encoded in our DNA as Black people. It's epigenetics. Google it if you've never studied epigenetics or heard of it, rather. Google epigenetics. I've been reaching out to one of the professors who studies it, trying to get her on the show to discuss the literal trauma that is in the DNA of Black people that is rooted in all the stuff that they put us through in this country. So when I saw that episode of June, I don't want to misname her. Her name is June now. When I saw the episode of June talking about how she wanted her former mistress to suffer and feel the pain of ripping our children away from us. And she had this really huge dramatic scene that was compelling. It was well acted, brilliant, kudos, great job. But when I learned about the stuff they did to our ancestors, I'm like, we ain't got to create no fiction. We don't have to create fictional monsters. We don't have to create a Negan so that you can feel what it feels like to have someone torture your family in front of you. Y'all did that to us in this country. So I'm sorry, James, you put me down that path.
Hey, it's okay, bro. I need to watch it myself. My mom loves Handmaid's Tale.
I love it. I do love it.
And I started it, but I need to finish it because everybody tells me about it. So I have to go down that rabbit hole with you, bro. I'm not going to lie. So I have to watch it myself.
Let me tell you, I didn't know Mama Gwen loved Handmaid's Tale. So now I know what she and I gonna gossip about, because that's all it is. When you talk about TV shows, you ain't doing nothing but talking about your stories, right? Remember when because Mama Gwen, I know she probably used to call them her stories, General Hospital and Guiding Light.
Days of Our Lives was it for the house. Days of Our Lives in another world.
Hey, listen, let me tell you something. Y'all thought it was okay to leave kids watching those shows when we were little. My mama used to leave me watch, the TV was on while she was doing hair. She was a beautician. And so while the TV, I guess maybe that's why I feel so comfortable going to barbershops and beauty salons around the country, which is how I'm getting access to all this footage. And we'll talk about that momentarily. But folks, those soap operas were not the things that let your kids, because now I'm this hopeless romantic that thinks he could save the world. That's them story. That's what stories will do. But I see what me and Mama Gwen can gossip about. Right. We're gonna gossip about Handmaid's Tale. So let her know whenever she wants to come on back on. Let's do it.
Okay, I got you, Ben, and you just crazy anyway, so that's why that bug struck you.
I think I wanted to say it anyway. Somehow I just found a way to go down that rabbit hole. All right, David, I do want you to join the conversation because you're going to help us navigate. I'm being honest with you. Like, while I'm out here in these streets, I am not plugged into what's happening in the world, but I do have a responsibility to talk about some of these things that are happening in the world because, well, some of y'all been listening to me long enough to make demands on me. So let's talk about what's happening in the world, David. You're going to be our navigator today. What are we looking at?
Well, you never let me know what we should go to. Good morning, everyone. Good morning,
that's because I trust you. Tell me where I'm flying. You just tell me.
Right, David. David, you know what it is. Good morning, David.
I don't need to know what the subject is. Just play. Tell me.
These are actually from.
We're freestyling here, folks. Completely freestyling. It's in your hand, David.
I believe this was on Sunday. Representative Cori Bush was interviewed on CNN discussing two different topics. But we'll go with the bigger newsmaker just so we can try to overcome that hill first.
I have security because I know I have had attempts on my life and I have too much work to do. There are too many people that need help right now for me to allow that. And defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police.
So I know you've seen that Republicans are pointing to the fact that you said you have your own security while almost in the same breath advocating for defunding the police. Now, I do want to emphasize, I understand you have security protection because you have received multiple death threats, but the clip that I just played is being used in attack ads against not just you, but other Democrats. Could those comments end up being harmful to your fellow Democrats, politically speaking?
As far as my colleagues, I absolutely empathize. I empathize, but you know what? The same thing that the Republicans would do, which is figure out how to work with this on a comms basis. That's what we have to do. I made it to Congress in 2020. I was elected to Congress, and we're still fighting this same fight. We're still fighting to save Black lives. That work was not done before I got here. This is the reason why I ran, was to save lives, to save my son's life. It was because Michael Brown, who we're fighting for, still trying to get justice for, it's because he didn't get justice, and Vondare Myers didn't get justice, and Kajim Powell didn't get justice, and so many others. And because that was not fixed before I got here, to then come at me and say, you're the reason why we have these problems. No, the reason why we have these problems is because those that were in power and could have fixed this problem before now didn't, and it cost lives. We just introduced the People's Response Act to make sure that we are looking at the money that should be going to social safety nets to make sure that our community members who are living with mental health issues are able to function and live in society the way that anyone would ask to.
Okay. That's our sister, Cori Bush. I had a full interview with her. I do believe Anoa was on that interview with me when we interviewed Cori Bush years ago. And she's been a firebrand ever since. Yeah. And I want to say this because I want to hear both of y'all, David, your thoughts on it as well as you, James, because this sister is flying at a high altitude.
Yes.
And so is Nina Turner. And let me tell y'all something. There is a difference. There is a difference between leaders that we send up there who are fighting for us and leaders who go up there because it gives them the prestige. And Cori Bush and Nina Turner, now Nina Turner didn't win her race, but that doesn't mean Nina Turner ain't still flying at that altitude. Right. And it doesn't mean that she's not going to be out there on the national stage speaking truth to power and making an impact that can't be erased. But the point is these sisters need our cover. They need us to protect them, to not because they're weak, but because they're our sisters. What else are we supposed to do? It's not that they can't fight these fights in their own strength. They're strong, but they're in our tribe. So I think it is our responsibility to cover them and to make sure that they know that they have a safe place and they have a community that's going to stand behind them. That's my first thoughts. David, James, what y'all thinking?
James, in your hand first.
All right, thank you, David. Cori Bush, when I tell you she has been doing this work, especially with the moratorium stuff on the evictions, out there sleeping on the steps of the Capitol, drawing attention and getting folks out here and waking people up. Just the stuff that she's done over the past few days, the past week, has been amazing. And who gives a damn if she does have private security? It's just the Republicans trying to find something else like they always do for a black woman. And like you said, Ben, we have to cover and protect our sisters because they're the ones that's fighting doing this stuff. AOC, Ilhan, is her name Ilhan Omar?
Ilhan Omar, yeah.
As just on the screen. Thank you, David. And then, like you said, Cori Bush, we have to protect our sisters at all costs because women, Ayanna Pressley, exactly. They're out here fighting, man, and doing this work. And I love to see it. We need more people like this. Men, women, everybody.
See, go ahead, David.
Excuse me. Yeah, I think what she was trying to communicate.
David, you're the only white perspective we want this morning. Go ahead.
I wear the badge in honor.
Thank you.
No, I think that what she's trying to communicate is really difficult. That most politicians we find trying to go into those deep dives where you can't do a catchy slogan, but you have to discuss nuance, which is what she was trying to do on CNN, discussing defunding the police, but also her need for security and also the need for justice. And I mean, no one really does it better than her or Nina Turner, but it puts them in that bind because
keep running that footage though, because sis, hey, don't leave that on that particular image because I know sis got keep her looking fresh on that screen for me. Thank you.
Multitasking.
I know, man. I can't do it without you. Literally cannot do it without David. Literally cannot do it without this white man, which is why he's the only opinion I want right now. Go ahead, brother.
Shut the hell up.
I just think that I mean, no one does it better than them, but at the same time, it's the country doesn't seem to be listening. Yeah, and that's what's most frustrating.
That's right.
Absolutely right.
That's right. Because can you imagine? I wanted to run for Congress back in 2010. I was like 30. I had this little, y'all know I've always been plump, but I was hefty back then. And bro, I had a little tight suit on, and I photoshopped myself in front of the Capitol. I really wanted to go because I thought we could go there and change something. But I kind of looked around. I grew up in the black church, and I kind of realized, groups of people really do have difficulty getting things done together, right? Humans, it's hard for us to work together. And I kind of surmised that I would be wasting my time personally trying to do it through the system. So I've been working outside the system ever since. But to see these sisters be willing to go up there and say, I don't care how difficult it's going to be to get something done through the system. We got to work through the system. And then to see people turn around and attack them because they really want to do something good. And I know I say this all the time. And I think I said it yesterday, and I'm going to keep saying it. I can't understand for the life of me why it is so difficult to get something good done for the people. But if anybody can testify to it, it's going to be Cori Bush, Ilhan Omar. It's going to be AOC. It's going to be Nina Turner. It's going to be all of those leaders who are there now fighting on behalf of us, y'all. Us that ain't rich. Don't let these glitz and I've been trying to tell y'all we ain't rich around here. We just out here doing the work. We just excellent at it.
Yes.
But man, I digress.
And let me ask you, man, and you brought up something good, and that's a good point, a great point. Why is it so hard for people on the Hill to do stuff for the people, for us? It seems like they're doing stuff for the country. And when I say the country, I'm not talking about the people in the country, just the country itself, to uphold these specific beliefs. Why is it so difficult for these people to do something for us, the ones that matter, the ones that's actually keeping this country going? And hell, even the ones that have built this country on our backs.
I would like to just give you guys the answer, but I've learned. Let me tell you something that a black woman taught me. Let me tell y'all, I am what I am because of black women. Nyasha Jr., Dr. Nyasha Jr. came on my show. That sister came on my show. I want y'all to watch that episode. And I thought I was asking her questions and she was asking me. She was reading me quietly without saying anything. I felt like the woman at the well. And she came and told me all about myself with just a series of questions. So let's try to use it do it that way. I want to, David, I want you to jump in. I want you to jump right where Bubba left off, because that is the essential question. Bubba's hitting on it. David.
I was multitasking. Give it to me one more time, Joe.
I said, like, why is it that on the Hill, why is it so hard for these people to do something for the people and not for the country? You know, they say they're doing stuff for the country, but when they say they're doing things for the country, they're doing these things to uphold certain beliefs that have been passed down through generations and generations that are well outdated.
Come on.
So now, why are they not doing anything for us? Here it is. We're about to be back in the midst of another lockdown, and guaranteed we're not going to get any checks. We're not going to get anything. So why is it that it's so difficult for them to do stuff for us?
Yeah.
Depending on what you're referring to, a lot of times it's, the generational racism, but I think even bigger than that, at least in the current time in this country, is money in politics. Because Congress spends so much time just calling for donors. They're like, and this has been documented. Like they literally have a part of their schedule carved out to go to, a building that is designated for them to sit and make calls.
Yeah, call time. It's call time.
Yeah, so money in politics, donors, who speaks louder, and the Supreme Court hasn't helped. They made it work.
Right.
What was it? What was the decision? The Supreme Court decision that
Citizens United was the
Citizens
first one.
United that said that corporations are people. Remember Mitt Romney? Corporations are people, my friend. That's because this country. I Freudian slip. How about that? This country has been sold to the highest bidder. It has been bought, locked, sold, and the highest bidder right now are the people on Wall Street. They got to get rich. They got to hit those quarterly profit margins. They don't care if you die. They'll listen. I got it. It's so difficult. David, take it away, because I got to make sure I don't say stuff that I'm doing out in the field while I'm pontificating on these news briefs. Right. Maybe let's move on. Maybe.
Yeah.
So I'll go into clip 2. The one thing I was going to add was imagine, and you can take this next clip and kind of, just think about this. What if if we successfully moved elections to be publicly funded, where there was a limited amount provided, and they ran on it just like in other parts of the Western world, at least, and
well, you know what, David, I got
only 3 or 4 months to campaign and didn't have to, campaign for a year and a half and compete.
Yeah. See, no. So I've learned we got to flip and reverse our messaging. See, you and I over the years, we've been talking to people in the political world, and we use language that's the political world understands. Everything that you just said, people who are steeped in politics understand. Right. We got to translate that for the people. And so the best way for me to translate that is to show something that we can look to futuristically in terms of how we should do it, because it should not be so damn difficult to vote. The only reason it's difficult to vote is because they need to control the amount of people who vote. There is a pressure, and we literally have no excuse right now. We should be able to vote online. We should be able to vote digitally. I don't care what hurdles we have in terms of identification and duplication and all that stuff. Listen, the blockchain has a couple of things figured out. If we put 1 and 1 together, we can get 5 if we do it right. But we have people who have a vested interest in ensuring that the smallest amount of people imaginable vote. What's the percentage? Somebody get the number. Somebody in the chat, Google for me the percentage of Americans who actually vote in the first place.
I think
David,
it's like 40%.
It's in your hands, David.
Yeah, I think that's something like 40%. It's definitely less than half the country, at least most recently. But here's the next clip.
That's why it's so difficult to get things done.
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry to take you the long way, but that's the answer. Go ahead.
That's the answer, right?
So this second clip of Representative Bush on CNN, she covered how to move forward, at least while we have a temporary moratorium in place, and I guess what her focus is going to be on.
Let's go.
So that's why I rushed back to St. Louis to make sure that, and we've been saying it nationally, that we have to do the work now to get this money out. We have to do the work to make sure that our states and our local governments are able to release this money, get this money out into the hands of the people who need it the most. So we're telling tenants, we're telling landlords to go online or show up at the clinics that are happening around the country and apply for this money. And for our local government and states, please get this money out. This has to happen. 60 days we may not have. So we are pushing really hard to make sure that people apply. And that's one thing that we keep hearing too, is that especially locally, I've heard, well, people aren't applying. Well, we understand that there have been barriers to people applying and those resources being able to be moved. So we are working out those kinks right now.
Oh, let me speak on this real quick, because she said something that is really true about the local governments and the money. I applied for COVID assistance, the rental assistance, and it took almost maybe 2 or 3 months for me to receive funds. Wow. After applying for the relief the first time, after my landlord sent over I did it myself the first time. And when I tell you, the process is just so many hurdles, all of this information that you have to fill out. It's a lot, a whole lot. And then just wait after you submit everything, they're going to call you back. Hey, this says this, you need to update it to say that. And then
you got to wait again.
Then wait again. It took almost 2 to 3 months for that to come through. So they're right. The local governments have this money. They closed the program here in my county. And then, of course, once they saw the numbers start going back up, they just reopened it last week. So they closed it like maybe April or May, and now they're opening it back up. So just to hear that there was still money out there, just like, what were y'all going to do with this? It makes absolutely no sense.
Give it to their friends.
Exactly.
Give it to their contracting buddies. Y'all listen, y'all know, and everything that you suspect. Here's the thing. There's no need for conspiracy. I met a dope brother in the streets of Atlanta. Cause y'all know, that's where if y'all want to find me, y'all can find me in the A, right? Dope brother had all the wildest conspiracies that I've ever heard in my life. But he and we connected on a spiritual level in terms of our role in this country as Black men, right? And the thing is that there are so many of us, James, who go through all that we go through in this system, and we see all the stuff that is actually happening right in front of our eyes. But we get so accustomed to it that we don't look at the biggest conspiracy theory right in front of us. It ain't even a conspiracy theory. It is the truth. Just look at how our government is bought and sold by the highest bidder. That is why we can't fight climate change. That is why we can't even protect. They can't even protect our right to vote anymore. Right. Y'all see how they're stuck on the filibuster? They can't even protect Black folks' right to vote anymore because it fundamentally conflicts with the best interest of their investors. There's no need, my brother that I met. There's no need for some of those wild ass conspiracies that you had. I'm going to share some of them. He gave me permission. I'm going to share them. I got tape. There's no need for that. If we just look at Washington, D.C., we'll see that our temples have been ransacked by the money changers.
Right. Real quick, Truth the Dragon said the highest turnout for an election was 65.7%. And that was
Barack
in
Obama.
1905.
What races were they trying to elect back then? Why were they so excited? We're going to need Brother Mac to help us with that one.
Oh, my gosh, yes, 65.7%. But the thing is, why is it? See, I have so many questions. It's just, and
You've
it's
got questions
and
that are just
answers. I hope so. Why is it that we don't vote? Why is that, y'all?
Well, I'm be honest with you. I'm not going to use ye old Democratic Party talking points as to people need to get inspired. we just need the black community to pull up their pants and this is representative somebody. We'll get them. We just need the black community to pull up their pants and go to the polls, vote. Everything is a vote, right? You got diabetes, vote. You know what I mean? You got high blood pressure, vote. White supremacists hit you in the head, vote. You know what I mean? Meteor coming, vote. Climate change.
The police shot your child, vote.
Vote.
Okay.
I was getting ready to get real serious there for a second.
I know, man.
Thank you for interjecting and bringing me back from the precipice, brother. Because the reality is, we voted for you, Joe Biden. Sorry, I went off the deep end. The reality is that we have been voting and we have been putting y'all in office for a very long time. What have you done for us lately? Y'all forgive me. I'm sorry. I'm going through a whole lot of stuff out here.
James, you got anything?
No, Ben got it all right there. Cause
no, and you can hear and you know, then you're not alone in the frustration, except you're seeing a lot of things fresh and firsthand, so it's on the top of your mind.
I think it was the pee bottles. It's the pee. Play the bot. It's the fact that I've had to talk to black men younger than me, living in conditions that I would have led a revolution over if I had a ride in those trucks. But there they are working to to provide for their kids, and y'all been telling these boys, pull your pants up. How much higher can they pull their pants?
Well, while we have this type of thing happening, and by the way, I'm sure, Ben, you've seen the comments that it's not even just Amazon that, I don't think it's a surprise that like 18-wheeling truck drivers do it, but apparently the USPS has done it before, or UPS has done it before. Their workers. So
the real thing,
it almost seems industrial or systemic.
The real problem here is us.
Mm-hmm. The speed at which we want everything.
Not only the speed,
and
but
the cost at which we want it for.
No. The sheer volume. It's the volume. It is y'all got to understand, man. I've been going through video footage and audio footage of people talking about having to defecate. You know, one sister confirmed to me that they know of people who have had to defecate in their trucks. So being in the streets, let me tell you where it's not safe for me. Being on this show is not safe for me. That's why I had to build this safe space around me. This containment field. James, you're in that containment field. David, you're in that containment field. Georgia Ford, I couldn't ask for a doper number one. Like folks, number one is from Star Trek. Just want to make sure everybody understands. I don't want to mix metaphors here. I know we're talking about Amazon pee bottles, but Georgia Ford, she's like my Will Riker here. And I couldn't ask for a better. Rebecca Azor is like the empath who feels and understands that with an intellectual IQ that I've never seen anyone in my life have. An intellectual IQ. James, I guess I don't know. What are you, Worf? What are you?
Right. Exactly.
I'm not Captain Picard because I'm not in that kind of condition right now to lead the ship. So I'm out here in the streets. Yeah, I'm better. Honestly, I'm more like Data right now. I'm processing too many variables. Because we gotta have solutions,
Picard, bro.
We gotta have solutions. Well, I'm a Data as Captain Picard.
Hey, it's okay because Picard went off the rails for a minute. He had to find himself. He had to do what he had to do, and he came back and brought the crew back stronger and better. So Picard, bro.
Oh, who? Hey, you know who Worf? No questions asked. Carl Mack.
Carl Mack.
Carl Mack is Worf. There's no way anybody else is Worf but Carl Mack. I guess that makes you got to be Geordie. I think that's what Letterhack. Didn't he draw you as Geordie in the Forge?
Yeah, he did.
I got to finish the metaphor so I can finish the point, folks. If I don't finish the metaphor, I'm going to get lost, and y'all going to think I've lost it. I haven't. The point is I had to assemble a team just to help me be able to walk away from this show. Because the work out here has broken me, but it hasn't broken me when I get in these streets. When I'm in these streets, I'm healthy. That's my. And then I realized that I got that from my daddy. He was a street minister. He died, My father died as he was the homeless people were in the van waiting on him to come out from Bible study. So I got it naturally. The thing is that we can't do it by ourselves. Right. These are the stories that need to be told. What happened here at Amazon is happening in this video that you're looking at. This is any random city. I promise you, you will be able to ask your delivery driver if they have ever had to pee in their vehicles, and they're going to say yes. And now let's go back to the problem. Is it that Amazon is so bad and evil and malicious, and Jeff Bezos is a villain and he's an arch nemesis of all good people in humanity? Yes, that's part of it. But here's the other part of it, folks. Our demand. Jeff Bezos is really just keeping up with our demand. We are ordering all kinds of junk that we don't need.
Yeah.
The internet was not meant for us to order all the little tiddlywinks that is Lord, everything is coming out now. All of my characters are coming out. But all the little tiddlywinks that Pastor Robinson in Daytona Beach would talk about in his sermons. We don't need that junk. Our demand for junk is forcing all of our brothers and sisters and non-gender conforming individuals to have to urinate in vehicles just to keep up with our demand. And Jeff Bezos is more than happy to comply. Yeah. That's the real problem here. Sorry to take so long to get that out.
No, it's the truth. You have to get to that point the best way you can for the people to understand. And bro, you did a good job.
Doing the best I can with what I got, man.
Absolutely.
What else we got, David? I don't know if Rebecca's ready yet, because I don't want her waiting on me. That's what I want to go to the next story. I don't want her to have to wait on me. What you got?
Yeah, no, we do have another clip that we can either do now on Rand Paul.
Yeah, get me off the pee bottles, man. The pee bottles is triggering. Let's get off this subject.
Or we could just go to break and come back as soon as Rebecca's ready, because I know we got
I think that's the deal. Yeah, if that's the beat, James, DJ exclusive.
Hey, we can
your
do
world.
So let's break, and Rebecca should be here when we get back, hopefully.
Yay! All right, y'all. I want to make sure y'all stay tuned. This is for Brother Ben. Y'all make sure you stay tuned, y'all, like it or not. It started up next.
Baby, you set my soul on fire every morning.
Shout out to Burning Heart Dragon. She says, Ben, we love you and need you. Oh, Burning Heart Dragon, thank you for your super chat. We appreciate you so much. Y'all make sure you stay tuned, y'all. Good morning, everyone in the chat room. Esther, Mark S, Nat A, Miss Furu, good morning, y'all. Mom and Daddy, good morning, Mom and Daddy, love y'all. Charlie Wynn, good morning, Lord Estrada. Good morning, Veronica, Kev Z, Terry, Stacy, Courtney, the SLP, good morning, Air Hustler. Good morning, Brother Latif. Good morning, Mark S. Good morning, Alicia. Good morning. If I said Mom and Daddy, I love you, I mean it. Mom and Daddy, I love you. Hey, good morning. Tyler, brother, good morning. Shay, Jago, good morning. Leslie K, Sister Seven, sweetheart. Leroy Jenkins. Good morning, Leroy. I love that dang old name, man. Limpsha, good morning. Mara, good morning, Sister Mara Cherise. We got Patricia Palumbo in the building. Patricia, good morning. Brother Goku, good morning, y'all. Courtney, the SLP, Black Magic, good morning. Jermaine Lewis, Afraid Not, good morning. Four Problems, what's going on? Good morning. Infinite Content, what's going on, brother? Shout out to the hardest working man in the chat room, brother Chuck Diesel. What's going on, Chuck? Good morning, good morning. Lisa Noel, good morning. Roller Dragon, good morning. I know 6 Dragon Daddies in the building too, good morning. Y'all better drop it. I see y'all dropping the chats, man. Brenda Johnson, good morning. Nat A, good morning, sister. I see y'all. Good morning, y'all. That's right, Anthony Monk. Good morning, beautiful people. Anthony said. Mark Russell, good morning. First time here, love the break music. Good Bob with good music. Good morning. Mary, welcome. Y'all welcome Mary Boucher to the chat. Mary, if I said your name wrong, please forgive me. Anna Hart, good morning. Ricky, good morning. Lily, good morning. Truth the Dragon. Good morning, sister. Love you, mean it.
And every evening, and maybe we can't get any higher.
Don't worry, I ain't forgot about y'all. I'm coming right back to you.
We can discover what we're hiding.
Magdalene Moon, good morning. Nadia C, good morning. Adam Ward, good morning to you. Melanie Dennis, good morning. Barb, good morning. Franco, woo! Good morning, Franco. Shout out to everybody on my on Twitch right now. Jam Tune, Rachel Letney over there. Good morning, y'all. I see y'all. Shout out to the international community, man. Man, when I tell y'all we are worldwide, good morning, international community. We appreciate y'all. Love y'all, mean it. Tiger, good morning, Tiger. DB404, good morning. Sunny Wright, good morning. Gail, good morning. Happy Tuesday to you too. Taco Tuesday. All right, now is a better time than any to go ahead and do our joke. So let me see what joke I got for y'all today. Okay, here we go. Y'all ready? Yesterday, I saw a guy spill all his Scrabble letters on the road. I asked him, what's the word on the street? Love y'all, being it. Good morning, y'all. Like it or not, it started up next to y'all. Stay tuned. Just give it up. I'm not your y'all know y'all love my jokes. Don't call me up. Don't waste your time, cause I'll be your enemy. The dramatic effect, that's right, Courtney. Look somewhere else, heal for nothing. Just give it up. I'm not your girl, cause I only love you. Don't get me wrong. KMY, yo. KMY, you don't got no sense. Y'all leave me alone. Ear Hustle, good morning. Russell Williams, Adam Ward. Yes, make sure you use that. Make sure you give me credit. I mean, it's not my joke, but just because I said it, just give me credit, okay? Laura Strada, good morning. Shay says, Bubba, why is turtle wax so expensive? Why, Shay? We're waiting for Shay's answer. Let's see what Shay's answer is. Hey, Miss Sophia, because their ears are so small. Wait now, Shay, I gotta read it again, Shay. Wait a minute. Shay got me. I think Shay got me. Shay said, hold on, wait a minute. Bubba, why is turtle wax so expensive? Why is turtle wax so expensive? Because their ears are so small. Man! I can't stand you. Turtle wax? Like wax, earwax. Okay, I got it. Y'all leave me alone. Shout out Shay for the joke in the chat, man. I can't stand y'all. Why do y'all support me and my habits? I don't understand. Because if y'all don't keep letting me, I'm going to keep telling them, okay? Oh, yes. Bubba, what was this? Six Dragon Daddy says, Bubba, what was Ben Shapiro looking for at Home Depot? I can't stand him at all. White Dap. White Dap, Lee. I can't stand you, man. Good morning again, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, okay? All right, y'all. Rebecca is not here yet, but we are still going to get started. So welcome back to the screen. My brother from another mother, Benjamin Dixon. You ready, sir?
I'm ready, man. Let's do this. Let's do this. Woo! Man, look here. It's been a day. David, set up the next video. What do we have in the next video that we need to, what do we need to know about this next video?
So we've been doing it a lot, but it seems like it's never ending, highlighting the divide that's forming in the country between the actual experts and the people that don't want you to believe the experts. So we have two clips of the National Institute of Health director trying to give advice, even though, it'll probably be to his detriment.
Sir, your side there said it all. That was...
Sorry?
No, go for it. My fault. It's in your hands.
You could get. You clearly believe the vaccine mandates could make a difference.
I do believe they can make a difference. I understand how that can sometimes set off all kinds of resistance. But isn't that a shame, George? I mean, how do we get here? Why is it that a mandate about vaccine or about wearing a mask suddenly becomes a statement of your political party? We never should have let that happen. And come on, America, we can separate these, can't we? We're incredibly polarized about politics. We don't really need to be polarized about a virus that's killing people. We ought to be doing everything we can to save lives. And that means get the vaccine. And that means wear the mask when you're indoors in a crowded space. And if you're unvaccinated, wear it all the time.
School.
All right. So that's the voice of Dr. Francis Collins. And if you search his name, you'll see that he's an American physician, geneticist who discovered the genes associated with a number of diseases and led the Human Genome Project. He is the director of the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland. Not that credentials mean everything, but when it's time for a pandemic, these are the type of credentials that I want to listen to. I don't know about you guys. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would think it's a no-brainer, and it's funny. I'll keep it short, but it's funny that I was just saying, I think it was last week, I would never have thought, maybe it's not as shocking to you all, I would never have imagined the degree to which the tinfoil hats would have become mainstream. like when I was a kid, the people that bought into the conspiracies were, supposedly like this small little fraction of people living in the desert or in trailers or whatever. And I don't know,
man. I know quite a few of those people. I just know that death is permanent, folks. There ain't no coming back from that. So I have personally so here's the thing. Apparently I no longer have this zero tolerance for my own personal life. I'm out here in these streets. I'm living my best street ministry life as I capture I'm pulling up everywhere, by the way. Y'all never know where I'm going to pull up next, but Greg Locke, you can expect me. Pastor Greg Locke, you can expect me. Everybody else, it might be a surprise. But the point is y'all, I'm out here and I lost all sense of my own reason because I'm vaccinated. That's why I'm a little more cavalier with my life right now because I'm vaccinated, but I'm not cavalier with my children's lives. They're in Jacksonville and I'm trying to figure out a way to tell my wife, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, I'm trying to, but the point is protect your children at all costs. Protect your life at all costs because men have lost their reason. Brutish beast.
So before Ben totally just drops on us from the subject, let's get the second serious advice out of the way. This is the continuation from Dr. Collins.
School year starting for so many kids and their parents right now. What's your best advice to parents as they send their kids back to school?
I would ask that they would think about masks in the way that they ought to be thought about. This is not a political statement or an invasion of your liberties. This is a life-saving medical device. And asking kids to wear a mask is uncomfortable, but kids are pretty resilient. We know that kids under 12 are likely to get infected. And if we don't have masks in schools, this virus will spread more widely. It will probably result in outbreaks in schools, and kids will have to go back to remote learning, which is the one thing we really want to prevent. this kind of virtual learning, which kids have had to go through now for more than a year, is really bad for their development. We ought to be making every effort to make sure they can be back in the classroom. And the best way to do that is to be sure that masks are worn by the students, by the staff, by everybody. It's a small price to pay for being able to keep kids where they need to be to learn.
And I understand.
I don't agree with that last line, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was just about to say I understand the sentiment, and I hate that these kids are missing out of that in-person learning. But school started here in Georgia last week, right? And all last week, all you heard, I think by the end of the week, 200 and something cases from kids after they returned to school. And these kids had masks on. So now it's just like, honestly.
You're talking about the story here in Georgia.
Oh, yes, man.
The 900 kids who have COVID since school opened.
900. And that was just from last week. Bruh. The major counties in Atlanta started back this week. I can guarantee you numbers are going to start. We're going to see higher numbers from school kids. My sister-in-law in Henry County, they've already said they have certain levels. And just from the beginning of this week when they started, I think, this week or last week, they started at level 1. Right now they're at a level 4, which means that mask on at all times indoors. And guaranteed that it's probably going to go up again, go to a higher level. Man, like I said, if I had kids, I don't have kids, but if I did, I'm doing everything I can to keep these kids at home. If I got to make sacrifices to get these kids learn, and got to teach them myself, if they got to do a Zoom meeting, then so be it. We're going to set up somewhere where these kids going to be and they're going to learn. And I know it's not as easy as that, but still, I'm protecting my kids at all costs. Simple as that.
Come on, man.
I'm not sending my kids back to school. I couldn't do it. Not
I'm
in this
still trying to figure out how
climate.
many. Listen, I shouldn't be saying this on air, but I ain't talked to her yet. I have talked to her. She knows and she knows me well enough to know I'm trying to. She knows exactly what's going on. Yeah, my wife knows exactly that I'm out here once again trying to save the world. And now I don't want to have the possibility of me spreading the virus to my kids, because even though I am vaccinated, I can still transmit the virus.
Mm-hmm.
I would be perfectly fine in my children. So I have to talk to Joshua Feuerstein and Greg Locke. Maybe we should play their clips again, David, but I'm going to leave that up to you because you can see I'm treading the line this morning. The point is that when we are dealing with people who will send their children to the slaughter and look at us and make it seem as if we are irrational because we want. I feel like Dr. Francis Collins in that clip, the clip that you just played, because he's like, I cannot believe that I have to answer this question. Of course you should get vaccinated. Of course you should wear a mask. Of course you should protect your children. But I have to defer with the doctor, Dr. Collins. I'm not sending my kids back to y'all little raggedy schools.
Right.
Y'all kept us in bad conditions during the good times. Well, you think you kept us with Flint still got lead in their water pipes. And you think we should trust our children's lives into the hands of people? So listen, folks, if I sound like I have lost it, it's because you should have. Why is anyone okay? 630,000 people are dead. I think that warrants an emotional reaction, because are we not humans? Can we not see the absurdity around us? The absurdity of it all. Can we not see ourselves? In your hands, David.
James, you got anything?
I'm about to say real quick, Ben. It's I don't think people have become so numb to it now.
That's right.
That we recognize and realize the absurdity of it, and we see all this
but you gotta keep living, huh?
It's got to keep living, and that's how I think now. That's the thing that people see these numbers like, oh, okay. I think once we got past a certain number and it got up so high, people like, well, there's nothing we can do now. But just keep going. And it's sad to be like that, but it's just like,
thank you.
Now we're in survival mode.
That's right.
So we're in survival mode, keeping ourselves alive, our family alive, and protecting who we are. So now it's like the rest of the world. I'm not going to say the rest of the world doesn't matter, but it matters after my people and my life and everything else come first.
Yeah, man. I thank you for saying that, because here's the flip side of it. I'm asking every one of you, help me. Ask your, because I know you ordered something from Amazon Prime. It's okay. My wife does still to this day. I haven't in a long time, but I used to order Amazon Prime so much that I was like, then I had to start looking in the mirror and say, okay, I can't keep talking about Jeff Bezos and keep buying from Jeff Bezos. Right now, in some emergency situations, Jeff, I have, all of us are guilty. We all sinned and bought something from Amazon Prime. I need your help. I need you to ask your driver if they have had to urinate in their vehicles. And I need you to get a picture of it. I need you to just hold that picture. I don't want you to do anything with it until I give you a location for you to upload it, because we want to protect the identities of all these workers. And James, I appreciate you putting it in context of that, because our essential workers don't have the luxury of anything that I just went on a tirade about.
Right.
They do not have that luxury. So in that rage, that righteous indignation that I hope you felt, because I feel it to the point that it has broken me, there's an entire class of people in this country for whom that conversation is not even relevant. And those are the drivers. Put them back up on the screen. Let's focus back on those drivers. Women, men, non-gender conforming individuals who are having to urinate in bottles to keep up with our demand. And if I was Jeff Bezos and I was a heartless, soulless ghoul, sorry, that was a yawn. If I was a heartless, soulless ghoul like Jeff Bezos, I would be happy to capitalize on your demand, America. The problem is that we are just consuming too much. And so long as we continue to consume at the level that we do so exorbitantly, drivers like these brothers that you see and these sisters and these non-gender conforming individuals that you should be seeing on your screen, they're going to keep having to urinate in these bottles. But here's what you can do. You could ask them, get a photo of it, because a simple fix. This is not the revolution. This is Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Get the picture, because we need to put pressure on Amazon to make it possible for there to be routes, places for these people to go and use a bathroom. No questions asked, no purchase necessary. Go in, swipe your card, COVID safe, COVID friendly. Because if you're going to keep consuming America, then we better be taking care of workers. Amen. That's all I got.
And real quick, Jeremiah Schaefer, thank you for the super chat. He says, this is for the information I got from this show to convince my mom to get my 14-year-old sister vaccinated this week. Shout out, Jeremiah. I'm glad we can help, bro. That's dope as hell to hear. I'm very happy to hear that.
Oh, that's it. Okay. David, what do we got? What's on the radar? What are we looking like? I'm flying blind.
So I'm going to flip the switch. I think Rebecca is going to join us in a minute or two, but before she does, and we can replay it if she needs the context, if she joins us after. But Rand Paul made the rounds late last week after he published a op-ed for Fox News, and he ended up releasing it in video format because people don't read articles, and the video definitely made waves yesterday. It's a little bit long. It's just over 2 minutes. So if you guys want to interrupt it, feel free. But here we go.
They can't arrest all of us. They can't keep all of your kids home from school. They can't keep every government building closed, although I've got a long list of ones they might keep closed or might ought to keep closed. We don't have to accept the mandates, lockdowns, and harmful policies of the petty tyrants and bureaucrats. We can simply say no, not again. Nancy Pelosi, you will not arrest or stop me or anyone on my staff from doing our jobs. We have either had COVID, had the vaccine, or been offered the vaccine. We will make our own health choices. We will not show you a passport. We will not wear a mask. We will not be forced into random screenings and testings so you can continue your drunk with power reign over the Capitol. President Biden, we will not accept your agency's mandates or your reported moves towards a lockdown. No one should follow the CDC's anti-science mask mandates. And if you want to shut down federal agencies again, some of which aren't even back to work yet, I will stop every bill coming through the Senate with an amendment to cut their funding if they don't come back to work in person. Local bureaucrats and union bosses, we will not allow you to do more harm to our children again this year. Children are not at any more risk from COVID than they are from the seasonal flu. Every adult who works in schools has either had the vaccine or had their chance to get vaccinated. There is no reason for mask mandates, part-time schools, or any lockdown measures.
Yeah.
Children are falling behind in school and are being harmed physically and psychologically by the tactics that you have used to keep them from the classroom during the last year.
I need Rebecca on this.
Yeah, because this, bro, this man,
this is deep. The misinformation here runs deep. I need us to dissect this from two perspectives. I need us to dissect this from a very analytical perspective, but I got to have the counterbalance of just the sheer intellectual IQ, emotional IQ rather, to be able to parse this out, because I can't do both this morning, because I'm going to tell you these suckers are up to something, and we got to figure it out.
They have to be. I'm just not understanding. You talking about kids can't get this? What the fuck are y'all looking at, bro?
Bro, hey, Bubba, my cousins are watching. My cousins are watching. Keep going. I feel you, but go ahead.
That's stupid. It makes no sense at all, because it's several kids in the damn hospital right now dying from COVID that y'all claim kids can't get. Whole picture of a toddler on a ventilator, but you're saying that kids can't get it, and you're saying that you're going to do everything you can to stop mask mandates. Yeah. Okay.
I think perhaps maybe this is their solution to climate change.
It's their solution to population control.
Because they're literally signing so many people to their deaths. 630,000 wasn't enough. Not for Rand Paul. He has some goals. What are those goals? If I think about it from an analytical perspective, I'm going to miss the emotional perspective, right? Because this type of visceral language appeals. It appeals to people on his side because they feel like they are come on, folks. They marched up the steps of the Capitol on January 6th. They really feel like they are in a war against a tyrannical government that is a white supremacist government. And they don't see the tyranny that we have been living under since 1619. So if I put the variables all in order, like Brother Mac would ask me to, I'm telling y'all, the only conclusion I can come up with is that they want folks to die. So maybe this is their idea of population control, because there's literally nothing else that makes sense. If I wanted us to go there together, but we don't have enough time. Am I crazy? Or are these people trying to get as many people killed as possible?
I wish I had a counter that made sense, but...
And forgive me for using that ableist language. All things considered, I shouldn't. Anyway, David, what's next?
Well, we can go back to a couple of ridiculous things he said after releasing that. Unless you don't want Rand Paul, and then I have to go do some digging real quick.
No, I'm following you, Chief. You're the navigator.
What's your take on the suggestion in the Atlantic?
Obscene, that if we now disagree in our personal medical decisions with the left, they're going to declare that we're a terrorist and that we can't fly. But even on the practicality of it, even if you said, okay, we're going to do this, even the CDC says you're not supposed to get vaccinated if you've been infected within 3 months. So what are we going to do? Tell people they can't fly for 3 months, even according to the CDC? Yep. I and other doctors actually think that your immunity from being infected is going to last a lot longer. With the 2004 epidemic, people still have immunity. Spanish flu, there are people alive who still have immunity from 1918. So I do believe natural immunity should be taken into account. But even according to the CDC, this idiot would have us not flying for 3 months. So it makes no sense. It's complete collectivism. And all of these people are the same people who hooted and hollered and said, Trump is leading us to authoritarianism. What could be more authoritarian than a no-fly list for people who disagree with you?
This man is messing up my name.
James, we lost your camera, just an FYI. But the only thing, just so that we don't get suspended again, and for the education of anyone that doesn't know, Rand Paul is
our channel got suspended for a week because we were analyzing misinformation from Donald Trump. Go ahead.
Yeah, but on this Rand clip, Rand Paul is a doctor, but he's a doctor of the eyes. He's an ophthalmologist. He might have some medical, knowledge, but he does not he doesn't know about virology.
Well, see, black folks understand that. Everybody we call doctor ain't a doctor, right? And while Rand Paul is a quote unquote doctor, he is not the virologist or the scientist that I would be listening to in this moment. Is what you're saying, David?
Right. He's talking about this immunity, and he keeps pushing the fact that you've got immunity. Yes, there's antibodies, but A, the science is still underway, and B, people that have had COVID once have had repeat cases of COVID.
Yes. Some people who have had COVID the first time get it the second time and die.
Even before the Delta variant.
Even before the Delta Plus variant.
So it's just, and this is what's being fed. I mean, this isn't Newsmax. This isn't.
Can anyone come up with a conclusion? With the conclusion, this is on Fox News, broadcast to millions of people every single day, every single minute of every single day. They are broadcasting nonstop into the consciousness of a vast population of aggrieved white people. Has anyone been able to come up with another conclusion other than the Republican Party? Hang on, I do have a problem with Joe Biden and Francis Collins, because Francis Collins at the end of that clip, didn't he say we want them to go back to the blessed place for them to be educated? Right? I am not sending my kids. I have the luxury and the privilege to be able to find a way to homeschool my kids. Essential workers don't have that luxury because we just got to get our toys from Amazon. I just got to get my brother's book, Kid Vega and the Sorcerer of Mali. I just got to purchase that book on but you don't have to purchase that one on Amazon. You can go to Barnes & Noble or ScottDixonBooks.com. You can go there. This man, Rand Paul, is messing up my name, y'all. I read that book in a day, by the way.
You're talking about your middle name. I just made the connection. I heard you say it the first time. I was like, what name are you talking about?
Paul, because this man, Rand Paul.
David, I thought Ben's middle name was Percival or something.
Percival. My father's name is my father's name is Percy.
Wow. What are you talking about? His name's not Ben. What?
Oh man, there's an Easter egg I'm going to drop right here. Everybody, keep your ears open. But Rand Paul is Rand Paul is going to forever be remembered throughout history as the man who ensured the deaths of millions. Benedict Arnold is not going to have anything on Rand Paul.
We finally have our sister.
Oh, she better come and save me because I'm getting ready to go off the deep end.
I'm gonna roll the intro first. We got to get off.
Yes, we got to bring her in properly. Ladies and gentlemen, non-gender conforming individuals. James, like it or not, is about to what?
Go down. Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning. Oh, no, wait a minute. Let me hush my mouth. This is not my seat no more.
Good morning. No, I was just trying to see what was going on. There was a lot of different. Look, I was like, "What's happening?" Like
we doing the intro, girl. You supposed to say good morning, welcome to Like It or Not.
Do it again. Hang on. Don't run the intro. Don't run the intro because it's a little long. James, good. Bubba
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Ben, you still started because it just.
That's right.
Are those my instructions? Okay, yeah. I'm still starting it. Good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth
and not care who doesn't like it.
Hey, hey, Rebecca. Good morning, sister.
Hey, wow. I know I look like I just rolled out the bed.
You did.
I look like I'm about to go call on some spirits from my master in the big house.
Like you about to go reach out to the ancestors, girl.
Listen,
power of the Black Panther.
The wig is not tapered down, and it will not be tapered down because I told you guys I just did this big chop on my hair, and I don't want to put any product on my hair right now. So
you going natural?
Yeah, I'm natural again. I was natural before this for about 6 years, and then I had during the pandemic I had got my hair pressed out, relaxed, and it was beautiful. But I miss my. You remember, Ben? I missed my big old pineapple on my head.
We can never get that pineapple in the shot. You know how hard we used to work to have to get Rebecca's bun into the shots?
Because y'all was getting the circle bun, and I was doing like a big old a big old pineapple. That was my natural hair, but I decided
Rebecca,
to go.
you see, you can't leave me on this show this long by myself. I've been out start a whole revolution out here. Thank you for
I heard. Look, I was in the background like, it is
he
what
got
it
us
is.
canceled. Let me stop playing. He didn't. It's been great so far.
No,
but Charles did this other clip that comes up is yeah.
Is it Rand Paul related as well?
Yeah.
I hope not. Yeah. Well, oh yeah, no, this is the one I needed to play. See, I need you on the case. I feel like sometimes we Scooby Dooing them. Mystery van and all, James. But I feel as though there's something going on here, and I'm trying to figure it out, because the only conclusion that I can come up with is that, and you can keep us in the B-roll format for a while, David, because I need Rebecca to see it and absorb it. I need you to hear this clip, Rebecca, and then the next clip is a clip where Rand Paul, who's ruining my middle name, where he makes it clear that he intentionally uses misinformation to get a strategic
Is your middle name
advantage.
Howard?
Paul.
Okay, sorry.
Rebecca.
I didn't even know which name
I
it
said,
was.
I thought it was Percival. No? Okay, cool.
My father's name is Percy.
Rand Paul's
I
middle
hate
name
y'all.
is Howard.
I can't stand you.
Oh, his middle name's Howard. Okay.
Yeah, so I said, why is he ruining his middle name? Which
He's
name
ruining my middle name.
Paul? Is it Howard? I didn't know.
My middle name is Paul, Rebecca Azor. Rebecca. Oh, Rebecca, I'm about to set your world on fire, Rebecca. See, you shouldn't have messed with me. I found it's funny what you can find when you Google search somebody's name.
Yeah.
And even more when you YouTube search somebody's name. There is a girl, you were going off in that praise dance video. That's all I can say. What?
Are you serious?
I mean, Rebecca Azor was going. I don't remember the name of the song.
Yeah, no, we're not going to
so
talk
I can't
about
help
that.
you.
So,
I can't help y'all with that. You got to find it yourself. Rand Paul is. I knew I could bring you in.
Rebecca, did he just set you down like that?
I don't know what's going on.
I need you to listen to this sociopath, sis, and help me figure out what their strategy is. Play the clip for us, David.
Vaccinated. It's time for us to resist. They can't arrest all of us. They can't keep all of your kids home from school. They can't keep every government building closed, although I've got a long list of ones they might keep closed or might ought to keep closed. We don't have to accept the mandates, lockdowns, and harmful policies of the petty tyrants and bureaucrats. We can simply say no, not again. Nancy Pelosi, you will not arrest or stop me or anyone on my staff from doing our jobs. We have either had COVID, had the vaccine, or been offered the vaccine. We will make our own health choices. We will not show you a passport. We will not wear a mask. We will not be forced into random screenings and testings so you can continue your drunk with power reign over the Capitol. President Biden, we will not accept your agency's mandates or your reported moves towards a lockdown. No one should follow the CDC's anti-science mask mandates. And if you want to shut down federal agencies again, some of which aren't even back to work yet, I will stop every bill coming through the Senate with an amendment to cut their funding if they don't come back to work in person. Local bureaucrats and union bosses, we will not allow you to do more harm to our children again this year. Children are not at any more risk from COVID than they are from the seasonal flu. Every adult who works in schools has either had the vaccine or had their chance to get vaccinated.
How can he make that assessment?
There is no reason for mask mandates, part-time schools, or any lockdown measures. Children are falling behind in school and are being harmed physically and psychologically by the tactics that you have used to keep them from the classroom during the last year. We won't allow it again. If a school system attempts to keep children from full-time in-person school, I will hold up every bill with two amendments, one to defund them and another to allow parents the choice.
Look how he disguises the filibuster.
Their child's education. Do I?
Is that it?
And just for one spot for Rebecca to jump off on, again, he's an ophthalmologist talking about virology and making wild claims about what contrary
stuff
to everything we're actually
data
seeing.
for. Right. All right, Rebecca, I've already said my piece. I've had the whole show to myself, but Georgia Fort was here this morning, and I need what the hell is going on here?
So I don't know what's going on. I'm listening to this, and it's just a whole bunch of, I know it's just a whole bunch of nonsense. It's just talk. Like if you listen to him, there's nothing, no sentence coincides with the sentence that's after it or before it.
It does
he's
not
jumping
follow.
all over the place.
Right.
And then he's making accusations that with no stats, that
ignoring the fact that we do have stats that prove the opposite of what he's saying.
Yes.
Continue.
He won't give those stats. So he's not giving the stats on the mental of the children who haven't been in school, right? There's no real stats. There's no expertise behind that.
Pause. I can give an anecdote for how good my kids are doing since they don't have to be in those schools, but I digress. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah. And so cut me off one more time. It's because you ain't got no video up. That's why I can't really.
No, it is. I knew he was.
So I'm gonna let that slide. But if you cut me off one more again, I'm gonna have to get David to mute you for a second so I can get my piece out. But Rand Paul honestly was saying all these things with no stats, but we do have stats. We do have confirmation. We do have examples. We do have so many dead bodies to show what COVID is doing, what it has done, and how it's gone beyond just a specific age limit and how it is affecting our children too. So in these areas, like in this particular, he's in Kentucky, and then we have Texas, and they're all hand in hand with each other on trying not to put these mask mandates and make them a mandate where forcing people to put on their mask. He starts off saying, little things that are like, okay, well, we're going to be able to put on the mask and we're going to do this, but we're not shutting down the schools. We're not going to, because that's not part of the American way. These kids are mentally behind. Like, they're mentally affected by this. They're being bullied. Who's bullying a kid that's at home? Who is bullying a child that is at home in their house, eating cereal, taking naps, playing in the backyard, spending time with their family, not strict on a strict, which is fine, because we were in school and we turned out okay.
Right.
Not all right.
I don't know if I did, but yeah.
But honestly, so all of this that he's saying is for him to even be somebody who knows something about science, who knows something about healing something that is wrong, who knows how we should rely on the truth, right? The science, the experts. He can't see shit. He can't see nothing. He can't see what really, he can't see how this is about to affect his people. Those people, listen, in Texas, I know there are local, right now, local people who are, local senators, I believe it is, who are out there and trying to stop, local mayors who are trying to stop the mask mandate. Not stop the mask, who are trying to go against what Greg Abbott put out there, where he basically they're saying the schools are going to require all kids to wear the mask. So they're taking a chance. And I remember here in Atlanta, where Keisha Lance Bottoms tried to take a stance against
that's right.
Boy,
Brian Kemp.
Yeah.
Election still in behind. Go ahead.
So when she tried, and then he made sure he put out all the stops for her. But these people in Texas are like, I'm not about to have these schools open and these kids not wearing masks. Now that's what we're not going to do. So he's going to have to run up through me. So that's what's happening right now. But I don't see. So when I hear Rand Paul speaking, that's what I hear too. It's like every man for themselves, even if it is at the cost of your child's life.
That's right.
We have to make sure America is American. We got to make sure. And this man literally knows better than this. He's an ophthalmologist, right? His background is in that. But he's given us big Stevie Wonder vibes.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus Christ. No, but here's the thing.
How do you not see what's happening before you? How do you not see what you're saying is about to cost a lot of lives?
I have a proposition for everyone. I have a proposition I believe that he sees as clear as day. And he knows that he is the person who can lend credibility to the agenda that will get as many Americans killed as possible. And I have receipts to suggest that he is that type of manipulator. He is that type of propagandist. He is the minister of propaganda for a faction that has an incentive to kill folks. Here is Rand Paul. David, do we have that clip ready?
I'm looking for it now.
Okay, there's a clip. And actually, we've already played it on this show. I don't even have to drop, but I know there's a lot of new people who are watching the clip of Rand Paul at the Institute where he's discussing how he uses propaganda, or he uses misinformation rather. He uses misinformation to get the strategic advantage over his classmates in college. He would spread lies and say that the test was about one thing. Y'all remember that clip? Mm-hmm. And then turn around and he knows the test is, he doesn't even know what the test is about. And he would tell all of his classmates that he found out that the test was about, I don't know, the whatever part of the eye, the retina. The test is on the retina. He doesn't even know about that. But he gets all of his classmates. This is what David is going to pull the tape of. He got all of his classmates to think that the test was about something specific so that they would fail and he would excel.
Oh, yeah, we played it on the show.
So this guy has an agenda. I think that there's an agenda to actually maximize it, because there's no reason 630,000 people should be dead. Not in the year of our Lord 20 and 21.
No, there's no reason that anybody should be dead, period. Mm-hmm. But with people like, somebody said, why are we listening to politicians all the way from Kentucky? Because sis or bro.
We international, first of all.
Well, that's first and foremost. But honestly, because these people from Kentucky have listened to the people from Texas, and the people from Texas have listened to the people from Georgia, and people from Georgia have listened to the people from Florida. This whole area in the South, they're in cahoots with each other when it comes to COVID-19. They're following the same script. There's, all of these people do not care about your lives. You don't really see much of this happening on the other side, even though it is happening where there are places still open. West Side, I'm pretty sure. But here in the East, that's considered the South, it's a lot of leaders, a lot of governors, a lot of state representatives who are going above and beyond to make sure that you don't have to wear your mask, you don't have to get vaccinated, that you can send your kids to school in buses that may or may not have been sanitized daily, hourly, because some of these buses work throughout the day where they're going to other schools. People aren't thinking about this when they go to the lunchrooms. Are they sanitizing those? The classrooms, are those being sanitized? Or do they have things available for the students? Are they putting the students' desks 6 feet apart? We know those things aren't happening. We know those are not things that they're putting into place when your child goes to school, because we know it hasn't happened when your parents go to work. We know it hasn't happened when the people that are in facilities, like the old folks' homes, they're still, there's nothing there that is telling you that they're okay, because I know so many people who have been in facilities who have got COVID-19 because the state representatives, the state leaders are pushing.
And they're dying from it.
To make sure, that there is nothing in place to save us. Make it make sense.
The conclusion I could come up with is that they want people to die.
Yeah.
And folks, we have all been ordering a lot of stuff in the pandemic. We've made Jeff Bezos so rich that he carried his ass into space just on a weekend. Right? And in that, the way that is connected is because the reason those Amazon drivers have those pee bottles is because we got to order so much stuff. But we're sending those essential workers out into the pandemic and they don't even have a place to use the bathroom. In the pandemic that Republicans are exacerbating with misinformation.
Oh.
The sum total to me is they want as many of us to die as possible. Has anyone come to another conclusion that maybe I missed a logical step? Well, then govern yourselves accordingly.
Senator Paul, a majority of the med students here today have a comprehensive exam tomorrow. Just wondering if you have any last minute advice.
Actually, I do. I'll tell you this. I never ever cheated, and I don't condone cheating, but I would sometimes spread misinformation. So, and this is a great tactic. Misinformation can be very important. So one time we were in the library and we were studying for a path test, and so we just started spreading the rumor that we knew what was on the test, and it was definitely all about liver. Everything, there's going to be a vast majority of questions all about liver. So we tried to trick all of our competing students into overstudying for the liver and not studying for the kidney and every other organ that's on there. But so that's my advice. Misinformation works. So try to trick your opponents into knowing that the test is about something it's not.
Trick your. Oh, good. Wait, you knew where you could grab it because you knew we covered it. Y'all. So anyway, not to despair.
I was cute on that day.
I know. I saw it. I'm like, wait a minute now.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing the sauce on the show, sis.
Yeah, I tried. I know today might be a little rough. Yeah, today might be a little rough, but I was real cute on that day.
Where them African angels that Paula White was sending your way? Where them African angels that Paula? Hey, listen. I don't want to lose the plot. I almost lost the plot here because the main thing is that folks, it's time to fend for ourselves. I'm not talking about, you might need to use your Second Amendment, right? We don't, that's fine. Shout out to the NFAC crew. I can't say your name on air, but I don't see why Cori Bush should have to pay for security. Nina Turner shouldn't have to pay for security when y'all are more than capable, but let me mind my business. Y'all let your people call their people and discuss how that can happen for free or some financial support. We got to defend. We need to homeschool our children. And I know I'm sounding a lot like Brother Umar Johnson more and more every day. And not to give him any shine, because we got to ask him some questions too. But the point is, this is not hotepery. This is survival. This is survival. Y'all, they want us to send our kids. They want us to send our kids. And y'all know, on the best of days, when the sun is shining and the weather is right, your kids are going to bring home how sick are your kids every week? Parents, come on. And they want you to send them out in the middle of and Rand Paul is in the front of the line trying to tell you everything is okay, y'all. I just don't see any other way. Rand Paul, Brian Kemp's, Greg Abbott's, Ted Cruz's, Ron DeSantis, all of them. This is why I say they're all in cahoots.
All of them
with each other. Do you see all the names that I named? These dudes are throwing back beers.
We trying to clean up. We trying to clean up our act, y'all.
Yeah, and laughing about these things, and saying, are you when and probably joking. When are you taking your family to Mexico, Ted? And Ted's like, what's my daughter's plan. That's what they're worried about. When are you staging a photo? And if you look, because just what was it? Earlier last month, they were changing their tune, but now they're back to we can't wear masks.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Rebecca, you absolutely right.
Like, I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it at all. So it's all a plan, and I believe it's what one of the many clients I spoke to yesterday at my corporate job yelled at me and cussed me out about. This is them being capitalistic pigs. I was called one yesterday for representing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Rebecca, say less, sis. No. Let's save that for off the air because I'm pulling up on folks these days. So say less.
So yeah, but this is all that is to me. There's no care in the world for anything but keeping America open. I think by now we should have had our shutdown, and all the leaders should have mandated what needed to be mandated. And it doesn't need to be the vaccine, but stay y'all behinds at home. Put your mask on. If you may not be able to get into some places because of X, Y, and Z. I just told you guys the other day. I was literally out having a good old time, but COVID was in there. God bless. Shout out to that Joe. But COVID was in there. Trust me. Because I was feeling a little, had to drink my elderberry.
Hello.
I'm a fully vaccinated woman had to drink my elderberry.
Which accent is that, Rebecca?
What accent?
The elderberry. What accent is that? Go ahead. Finish the story. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's somebody old, but I had to drink that. And that's my Florida accent. But I had to drink that. Put some Ricola in it, and just chill. Then I had to grab me a raw ginger. Yesterday,
that don't do none of that. Gonna help you with COVID-19
in the middle. What?
It went Ben. What? Well, you better call on these ancestral.
It's not going to stop you from getting COVID-19.
Neither is the vaccine. Exactly.
The vaccine stops you from dying. The vaccine stops you from dying.
But Ben, some of these symptoms that I have, now y'all can speak for yourself, but I'm gonna speak for me. Some of these symptoms that I had, not COVID related, but even if it's a cold or a fever, because I get summer fevers very easily, but because it's COVID season, still to this day.
Y'all put up the Congo music because we're going into the Hotep hour. Go ahead, Rebecca.
I make sure that I put my ginger, right, my raw ginger. I have lemongrass. I also have mint. Okay, and I put that together. I make sure I grind granulate the ginger so that I can make sure you could get the spices. And then I take a bark of cinnamon, which I did in the middle of the night last night because I woke up like, oh Lord.
Put her on a one shot for this.
What is in there? So I put it in my pot. I got these beautiful copper gold pots. They're beautiful. I put it in the pot, let that thing do what it was doing. And then the aroma in my home, it's almost like eucalyptus just filled up my home. And then when I finally poured it in my teacup, I drank it. I sat down. I was thinking about my life and how this man tried me, but the Lord will deal. And I drank it. And I that's probably what had me like get up pretty late this morning because I wasn't feeling well. And then when I finally woke up this morning, I drink another cup of tea and I'm okay. It's because I was feeling congested. I was feeling like a cough was trying to produce itself. I was feeling like, when
was this? When was this?
That is, it better go. But it worked. I feel better. I feel good.
Those natural remedies.
Symptom reducer at least.
Yeah. These natural remedies
I just
work.
want to. No. They make you feel great. Like they clear up your, they open up your nostrils and all that kind of stuff. I dig all that. When was this, Rebecca?
Say it kills COVID. Now, for me and my family, we have personal discussions outside of that. Yeah, I ain't got to be in it. That's for me and my family. But I'm not putting out that I said that it kills COVID. Just to be very, very clear. Now, this is.
But you're also vaccinated.
Yeah, but I'm also vaccinated. That's what I said. But even the vaccine doesn't stop you from getting COVID. Yeah. But these right here help me reduce the fever or reduce the cough or reduce anything that I may be feeling, any muscle aches, all of that. So yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to talk about something else. Let's move on real quick. What time is it, guys? My phone is.
That's how you know we in your hands.
I woke up in the late hours. Hey, David, did you grab that video? David,
it didn't take me to the link you wanted. It just took me to the main page.
This is the video of Governor.
Definitely not. We're moving on.
All right.
This video is. I want to talk about this particular conversation because I think it's going to really. It's how I like to get real.
Yeah.
So let's see if I can get this to you again. But it's just a conversation. Lately we've been talking about the moratorium. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Because it just gives me cemetery when I say that. I don't know why it gives me more.
No, because the etymology of the word has similar roots.
Okay, the etymology of the word.
All right, you heard it too. Okay, come on, SAT word.
Ben,
Wildcats, Hellwildcats.
Hellwildcats.
I give that to y'all. Ben is a very, very smart brother, and so are you, Bubba Jakes. Talented, I guess I could say. Anyways. Shouts out to the Rattlers. But, we've been talking about the moratorium and we saw the pushes that Cori Bush has done. We've even saw how, Auntie Maxine stepped into the conversation and was like, listen, I'm out here signing paperwork. What we doing? We got to make sure we can keep these people in their homes. And then we have Biden who said, give it a few more months. And then, but these are the people. Let's go back before we play this. I want you to remember where you were last year during the beginning of the pandemic. And I know a few of you, maybe more than a few of you that are watching, experienced not knowing after possibly getting furloughed or losing your job, experienced not knowing how you were going to pay for your rent or your home. My position, my apartment complex never gave any programs, never offered anything, not a thing. You had to pay and you were still going to get charged $250 for one day of being late. So imagine where you were. Think about that. And now let's take a listen to what this woman has to say.
Not my fault you can't pay rent. Okay? You signed a lease stating that you would pay in order to stay in my space. I still have obligations. I still got to fix stuff, but you don't have to pay rent. Look, I didn't start the pandemic, okay? I didn't cause you to lose your job. You agreed to pay to be in this space. It is not my fault you cannot pay. So when you blow up my phone with texts saying, I need help, I don't understand how to fill out the COVID relief program, help, I need your signature, I'm going to text you back with the quickness asking, when are you available? When can I stop by? Because I get it. I didn't cause this. You didn't cause this. And you clearly want to pay your rent. So if you're saying you need some help filling out the information, stop by. Just bought a printer. It's got fax. We can submit these documents as quickly as possible. Got a landline. You could even call in and ask for customer support. Why wouldn't I try to help the tenants who are trying to pay me? If that means an hour of my time this month, so be it. I am happy to sit down with you and help you fill out the paperwork as much as I know, because I've maybe done it a few times. And we're going to try to get you the relief you need. When paying tenants are happy, everybody wins. So, when are you free?
She had me up into the first half. Like, what's that meme? Because I wasn't ready.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you guys to. I wanted to walk you guys through it, just to go through the motions, because that's exactly what we went through during this pandemic. So, like, some people had that landlord that was her first part, right? And she is a landlord. And some people had that particular landlord where they don't give a damn, and they have the conversation of, it's my, like, this is my income too. This is my job too. Yet the person that I was dating at the time was using the moratorium to his advantage. Right. And he sells, homes, or he rents out homes, and he was using the moratorium to his advantage, but still asking for people to pay. So I had to sit down and have that conversation with him, similar to this one. If it's working for you, why can't you make options that work for your tenants?
Because they've been infected with the spirit of individualism that is at the root of this American white supremacist, imperialistic, capitalistic system. That's the answer. Black folks have the ability. See, I thought this sister was one of those. And I was like, I'm not emotionally prepared to talk about that group of Black people who have bought into the idea of Black capitalism as our path to liberation. I can't handle that conversation this morning, but I could definitely handle what she's talking about on the flip side, which is, it only makes sense. Happy renters means a happy landlord.
Not only that, I understand, because it's affecting me too.
Yeah.
We didn't ask for this pandemic to get here. None of us did. So it's affecting all of us. And I can be a person. I can let you in my house. We can walk through this. You didn't know about the program that's out there? Let's talk about this program. And however long it may take, we'll work through it. If that doesn't work for you, let's figure out some other options. Because I'm not going to kick you out on the streets.
That's right.
It's heart. This is where I say, we take a look at the heart. I'm not trying to be corny or anything like that, but I can tell you that the options that my apartment complex didn't give me, I would have loved to have her as a landlord. And I know that when all of you guys were watching, the instance was, oh, she's trash, she's trash. Yes, the person that she was describing was trash. And that's many of our, our apartment building owners, our landlords, the people that we're renting from. Yes, that's them. That's them. But there's also people like who she really is. And that's somebody who actually, and that's why I say I know everybody isn't like this, and they like to talk about, well, there's still the line of, the person has to get paid. And this is still what my corporation always says. It's still a line of business. You still signed up for this. You're still responsible for that payment. And I'm like, but the pandemic didn't, who knew that the pandemic would be here and do this, furlough me, have me fired. My business is never coming back. This home that I lived in for God knows how long, had to put it up. And now I don't even know if I'm going to have another place to stay after this. A lot of people were made homeless. These are conversations that aren't talked about. But Cori Bush has this conversation, especially as somebody who has been homeless and living out of her car with 2 children. She slept on the Capitol steps just for a few more months. A few more months of extension. While they're out here passing dumb bills that give police departments more money.
More.
While they're bombing other countries.
War.
So please make it make sense. We're not taking care of the people as Americans who swear it's so American not to wear a mask. We are not taking care of our people. We're killing them. We're killing them.
Say that, Rebecca.
The absurdity
I
of it.
passed through Atlanta when I was going to go enjoy myself. And I had to get out of my car, park somewhere, because Atlanta is just stupid with parking. I don't know how people could do it. I don't know how people could do it. I just don't know. But I got out of my car and started walking, and it's nothing but shoppers and these Maseratis, Lamborghinis on this side. And I'm on the side of the road because I have to cross over to get to that side. But I'm walking with all the homeless people. All of the homeless people. We're walking together so that we can cross the street. And I'm just looking at this, and I had to prevent the tears from coming from my eyes. And I just said a prayer in that moment. I said, God, why do I feel guilty? Because I'm about to go enjoy myself here, but I can't not look at what's going on across the street. These people could be me. And that's why I just can't get with anybody who says they're fighting for the cause and they have nothing to show for it. Not to say that you got to go sleep at the Capitol like Cori Bush. That may not be your ministry, right? Like Auntie Maxine has always been the one more conservative, but she's one in office, reading people for filth, the one that's signing papers, the one that's getting, you see what I'm saying? Everybody has their ministry and everybody has their fight, but I know where they stand in this fight.
Right.
I know where their hearts are. And it's for the people. And these people who are at the forefront of COVID-19, especially in these really popular states, one that we live in, the ones that have been under the scope since the election, the filibustering that's affecting our voting rights, right? Right here in Georgia, we got nothing to show for it as leadership. Not in everyone.
Ooh, don't you scratch that scab, Rebecca. I don't know if I can come.
Not in everyone, but I'm talking about in our main leadership.
I know you're right.
That's why we have people fighting in these smaller towns to do what they can for the people in their towns. But I feel terrible because the ones that are in the smaller towns, like the one that we heard of for is it South Fulton now that's become its own thing.
Khaled, Commissioner Khaled
and he's
Kamal.
doing what he needs to do for his area, right? Sometimes you gotta do what you can for where you at. Right. But then we got the places right here, right? When we hear about Atlanta from people on the outside, when they hear about Atlanta, when they hear about what's going on, all of those people on the outside are like, yeah, the whole pandemic, everybody was rushing to Atlanta. Atlanta didn't close for nothing. When I talk about Atlanta, I ain't talking about Metro. I'm talking about where everybody goes downtown, Midtown, Buckhead. I'm talking about
the leading edge of gentrification. That's what my cousin called it.
That's the point I'm going to get to. That particular area is gentrified as hell. The leadership does not care about the homeless. The leadership just cares about the money that goes in and out of there. And that's why it remained open. That's why they hosted the All-Star game here. That's why a lot of girls were stuck out here with no money to get back. Okay? This is why. Because what they focus on is coming to spend your money and not saving the community, but taking out the history that was in that community and replacing it with all of this stuff that has nothing to do with the blackness that's what everyone was talking about, right? Atlanta is so black, it's the black Mecca. The mayor of the town that we just talked about, South Fulton, he said Mayor Khaled, was it?
Khaled Kamal,
Yeah, he said it himself. He was like, no, my little town is actually the blackest. Atlanta ain't that black no more. Let's be honest. The percentage has definitely gone down. So all of that, we need to understand right before our eyes, they're not protecting the black people or the black history that was once in these particular areas. They're not doing that. That's not the importance. If you look, a lot of black people are homeless on that same street that the white people are shopping at over there at Pond City Market. Okay.
Little 5 points.
Okay. Yes, little 5 points. They out there
little
hanging.
5 points.
There was still money from you over there because I got money stolen from me over there at little 5 points. But that used to be my spot. But yeah,
that's where I go to my crystal shop. That's where I go to.
Really?
But yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But Rebecca, you're right. It's these same areas, and now it used to be downtown Atlanta. The city of Atlanta was the mecca for black people. Yeah. And now not anymore.
Okay.
West End
drive me crazy.
West End was the blackest area that it used to be. So historic and all this information. Now you start going down Lee Street, going down to West End. You see, I hate to say it like this, but you see the white folks running, jogging with the dogs.
That's when you know that it's about to be.
That's
when you see her.
That's when you know.
Bouncing right and left, and you're like, "What? Who is that?"
Like,
it just looks off.
I saw that this week. Yeah, I see that in my neighborhood all the time.
Oh yeah, you're gonna see it everywhere. I
But
mean,
guess what
East
though?
Point-
But here, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I was about to say, in my area, you know, we've always been a mixture. So that's why I like my little suburban area, my tri-state area, tri-city area where it is. But once you start going to certain parts in Atlanta where you never saw our Caucasian brothers and sisters at, you already know what time it is.
It's a cycle. It is a vicious 30-year cycle of gentrification and regentrification. They move us out of the cities. Atlanta used to be black. It's not black anymore. You can't even afford to live there. Hell, I know I can't. Matter of fact, I got to raise an offering later on so I can move to the next city. But that's gentrification personified right in front of us. They pushed us out to the suburbs because we can't afford to live there anymore, in the city no more, right? Now they out here jogging I live in the boondocks. I got cows out here. It's a black population out here with cows. We go down to the farm and lake. And here they come. The gentrifiers are coming. They were running in the neighborhood first. Then you see them at Publix. Then now I see the bankers coming around in their Maseratis and their really nice cars. They're scouting out our territory, and they do it every 30 years. Where are we going to go after this, folks? We ain't going to be able to move downtown.
I got you. No, they're moving us back into downtown. You know why? Because now crime is so high in the city. Because of that, they're trying to get us back where all the crime is now. So they're going to move us back in town.
Crime out here.
Buckhead is not what it used to be.
Not at all.
It is not what it used to be. I'm there very often. And
is Bankhead at least the same?
Bankhead is Buckhead now.
Exactly. I was gonna say that. Bankhead is now Buckhead. Buckhead is now Bankhead.
Bankhead, right?
So everybody at Lenox Mall, there's a shooting every other day.
Every other day.
Every upscale apartment complex that you thought, every upscale apartment complex in the parking garage, somebody's car is sitting without their hubcaps, or their tires,
and their windows are broken.
In a upscale.
So you mean they want to come out
that has security?
Talk about it, Rebecca.
Okay. So I need y'all to understand, they're doing this. I think all this is being done on purpose. They build these places. They want to see how it's going to do over there. They're like, no, it's not working over there. Leave it how it is. Let's go somewhere else and infiltrate that particular area. And get that particular area up and running, even though there's a lot of black people here. What we're going to do is start making the price go up. And so now the pricing on the house will offer the person living there some money for it. But, we'll see if the offer is right, but we're not going to make it too high. Once they're out of there, we'll tear down all these old historical houses and build some high rises right up in here. So all the history of that particular area is now demolished. That's what they've been doing. And the people who lived in there, who took the money, now cannot afford nowhere to stay because what they thought was a good amount of money, right, for their home, they can't buy no home in this goddamn economy. Okay?
The rent too damn high.
The rent too high. The mortgage too high. Can't even build. So they got to move out. That's why I gentrified. Reverse gentrification. The area that I live in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because I was like, you know what? It's just,
That's what my cousin doing.
I honestly cannot afford to live out there. But I get 3 times. I didn't even know this little area existed. I get 3 times the quality.
Yep.
Over here. And I'm literally like maybe the only black person. Now it's about 5 more people in the apartment complex that I live in. It's luxury apartment complex, but I pay way less. If I go back out to the city, I'm paying way more for old ass apartments.
Yeah.
Because of location.
Hey, guess what? It was stuff our parents used to own.
Mm-hmm.
They are renting to us properties that our parents used to own because they pushed us out.
Yes. Yep. People are, but those homeless people, if you talk to them and ask them where they used to live, they're going to say right there. You can say right there where those apartment complexes
They think they're going to do that to my neighborhood?
Mm-hmm.
They don't know who the hell live in their neighborhood. I'm going to quietly organize. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah. So, but like, I have a video of what I think I said the story. You know, I be saying my stories all the time. I turn into Benjamin Dixon. But I have a video of when I went to see Lion King. And look, because I was dating somebody else at that time. Now about 2017, 2018. And we went to go see Lion King. And we're walking down the street. And I look over, well, again, a happy moment. And I see a mother, a husband or a partner, and 2 kids. The degrees outside had to be about 30. It was freezing and they were sitting there. And there was a newborn baby and about a 2 and 3-year-old. They looked like they were freshly kicked out. And the newborn baby was crying red because she had to be freezing. And I'm like, God, like I stared and I'm like, what can we do? So, you know, we gave what we had, but what was that going to do for that person? I know that if I was there that night walking on that strip, so many people with money were walking down that same strip. And they passed this person by and was just like, yeah, they just out there, whatever. I know when I lived in New York and I had to take the train and people would be on there. I ain't talking about the people that be like, you know, it's dumping time. And they start dancing, not them. I'm talking about the homeless that used to come on and they'll be like, oh, they scam. I'm like, in New York, nah, you could wear Jordans. You could be fed because of you may have a food stamp card, but you could still be living outside. I saw somebody trace an apartment complex on the floor and have their couch and a TV that they plugged into the where construction was going on. So they plugged it into the outlet there and just chilled there until they were going to be able to move to their next street. Like, oh, I go to this place, I get dressed there, and then when it's time for me to sleep, I still got to sleep outside because I can't afford rent. But people are like, but the reason why they're out there, what caused them to be out there? They didn't work hard enough. Yeah, there are cases about that. But where I'm at, it's my heart speaking first. Because like I said, I could be any one of those people.
Yeah.
I could at any point in time. I had nothing when I moved here. Before 3 years ago, 2018, when I left that toxic place, I did not know where my money was coming from. I couldn't eat. I was getting cussed out by my landlord. Asking me when the money was going to come in. Didn't know. Didn't have a car anymore because I couldn't afford the one that I had. So one day I woke up Thanksgiving Day and it was pulled from my parking lot. I had no vehicle. Okay? I had no means of eating. So some days I just didn't eat. So when I see that stuff, I don't just like, I have to go into my heart and I have to go into a place of relatability. And I have to say, you know, I would never do people like this. And
Right.
that's where I think going back to that landlord, I think that's where she's at with it. When you know you've been there, man, there is no way that you can have the heart to treat people like that. Not everybody's like that now. I'll say that. And you don't have to be that way. Your ministry may be something different.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, in my heart, in my home,
me and my
I will
house.
never, no matter where I am in life. Yes, you'll see me one day as luxurious as possible. I don't even have it right now, but I still make sure I live as luxurious on my terms as I need to, right? But no matter where I am in life, I will never, ever, especially when I'm somebody else's boss, treat them low. If I have the means to keep them in a home while they figure out things, I will work with them.
Yeah.
If I have the means to get them programs or access to programs, I will work with them and give them access to that. Not every man for themselves, or they need to figure it out, or there needs to be a certain key word that they say for me to give them any assistance. I refuse to be that person. I just won't be that person.
Can't feel you on that, Rebecca.
Yeah.
That's where I have so much more that I want to say, but I'm going to hold it because I'm going to tell you why. If you have made it to the end of the show, you have experienced the most phenomenal morning show. Period. From Georgia Fort to the specter of Carl Mack, because he ain't even here, and that brother's presence is felt. To DJ Exclusive, who has a rapport with this audience that if I don't do right by DJ Exclusive, that chat room will burn me. They will come in. James, Rebecca Azor with the emotional and intellectual, the emotional IQ necessary for me to put 2 and 2 together. But I'm not going to tell you the jinkies. I had a jinkies moment. But what I need y'all to do right now is I need y'all to support the show. I need somebody to support what we do here. Because this type of brilliance that is on display should not suffer want. Have we not given our all? Everybody on the screen, Rebecca, have you not given your all for this project?
Like nobody's business.
James,
Let's say that.
James, have you not? Because y'all about to go to work as soon as y'all get off here, ain't y'all?
Yeah. Immediately after.
David, have you not given your all to this project? Speak, white man.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm joking. David got to go.
Away? He probably walked away.
No, he does. He cut his mic off. He doesn't keep it on. But David, have you not given your all to this project?
No, David had to walk away because he never misses the opportunity. There he go.
There he is. The point is, Dwayne has been in the background sacrificing y'all. And then I'm out in the streets, which is the best place for me to be. But we cannot do this. I can't go. I'm not going to another place. David, are you here now? David, it's fine. We know you sacrificed because the patrons know you sacrificed. We got 1 minute. I want to end on time.
I'm here. My mic keeps malfunctioning, but yeah, no, what, 5 years in running now, Ben?
5 years. 6 years for me, 5 years. Like 6 for me, 5 for you. Rebecca, 4. James, I've known you for 20.
Right.
That's
crazy.
You know what I mean? It's wild. Folks, I need to ask for myself first. Whatever my PayPal link is, somebody put my PayPal link on. Y'all know I ain't never asked for nothing. So you know if I'm asking, that means I've given my all. Bless your boy. And I'm pulling up on a couple of people. Rand Paul, you can expect me. Y'all, matter of fact, let's do some bounties. When I have no regard, I have wanton disregard because I got the vaccine and I travel with a safe team of COVID minded people. We gonna pull up on these clowns. I'm tired of talking about them. It's time to talk to them. So we're gonna create some bounties. Y'all tell us who y'all want us to go and talk to. James, you want to pull up on somebody? James, you and I we already discussed our plan how we gonna do them. Rebecca, you just tell me how you want to facilitate your time. But then I also need y'all to go to patreon.com/like it or not and become a permanent supporter of this program. Those of you who are supporters of the Benjamin Dixon Show Patreon, listen, I know there's a lot of Patreons, but guess what? We're working on that. We're working on a solution. Their tactic has always been to divide us. And the way I guess I'm going to close it out here, Rebecca, because I can't leave it. I don't want to leave it unanswered. Here's what's going on. It's about the land. The gentrification, it's about the land. The ignorance that I honestly think all that we're seeing right now is going to be a play to capture once again in this 30-year cycle that we have seen, the very thing that displaced and dispossessed our parents in the inner city during the Great Migration was gentrification. Our parents moved out to the suburbs and built communities out there because we couldn't afford to live in the city. And now they're coming out to the suburbs to re-gentrify us all over again. Y'all, they're stalking us. It is a plague. It is a virus. White supremacy, greed, capitalism, it will never stop. It is never satisfied. And it is coming to our neighborhood, to a neighborhood near you. That's as much as I can give you of my jinkies. Everything else is going to be behind the scenes. Rand Paul, hey, we're pulling up. That's if someone can sponsor the bounty. That said, James, Rebecca, y'all got anything else? This has been a magnificent show, y'all. Like every one of y'all, Rebecca, you come in and in no time flat show exactly why you are who you are and you rocking with us. And we're proud to have you, sis.
Well, I'm glad to be here as always.
Did somebody put my Patreon, my PayPal link up?
I don't know it by heart.
My PayPal link. I ain't never asked for nothing. Put my PayPal link up on the screen. Go ahead, Rebecca.
I don't know it by heart.
Oh, Jesus, man. Yo, get the lower third. Get the Benjamin Dixon Show lower third. Put that thing up real quick. I need that PayPal. I need that thing, that vibration.
Yeah, we can give it a good 60 seconds while David figures out.
I need that to start going on.
I got it in the ticker.
There it is.
Patreon.
No, I don't want the Patreon. I want the PayPal link.
You gotta give, okay, send me the link.
Rebecca, get us out of here before we go off the deep end.
Can you drop the link to can you drop the link to Benjamin Dixon's PayPal in the comment section? Pin it there so that people know where to find it. I'm giving you guys a good 60 seconds. So look, this is going to be that portion of the show where we are going to be pushing for income. You guys, listen to me good. Just like Ben said, this is a great show. This is a great opportunity for us to get together every morning, have the conversations, have the feel goods, go through the motions of everything. There's so many different topics that we can touch on. You got Georgia Fort in the morning with On the Clock, giving you great insight with her on the street, getting the stories, and having the great conversations with Benjamin Dixon and Dr. Carl Mack. And you have In Between with Ben just running his mouth as always. With some good
like that. Good mouth running, just going.
And then we come over here and we're gonna sit and we're gonna laugh and we're gonna cry and we're going to encourage each other, because at the end of the day, we are people first. And we've gone through. I may not have gone through what Bubba's gone through. I may not have gone through what Ben's gone through. I may not have gone through what you have gone through. But as we share our stories and we talk about it from a political stance, but a reality, we talk about it from a real point of view, because we've been through some of these things. And we talk about the change that we want to do. And like I said, Ben's ministry for hitting the streets and being up in people's faces may not be my ministry, right? It may not be my ministry.
I forgot that it was my ministry.
But at the same time, me pouring into you guys the best way I can, even if that is on the streets, and encouraging you guys to keep the fight. Or if you don't want to fight, that's okay too. That's my ministry. And Bubba's ministry is to play out some damn music when things get a little too hot and spicy, even for himself. We know that we can be blessed with some music, and that's our ministry right here in these spaces. And we all have a conversation. I can't say what Bubba goes through in the LGBTQIA community, but he can definitely have that conversation and educate us.
And he's going to have it, because James ain't nobody going to tell James what to say.
What do you guys think? He was just a DJ? With nothing to say?
You thought all through Spin Records?
Spin Records. What is my man name? I still can't think of. I know Dollar Bill. Who is he talking to? What's Jamie Foxx's role?
Jamie Foxx. I forgot his name. The DJ.
What was his role in that movie?
He was the DJ. Records. He's like, all you do is spin records. Yeah.
All you do. Go ahead, Rebecca. I'm sorry.
But that's all I really got to say. So when I do say, guys, you support us, we're not trying to break you or have you break the bank. But if 300 of you guys who are watching every day just support us with $1, 50 cents every day, or when you're watching, I'm telling you, that'll do something for us, because after this, Ben is doing what he needs to do on the streets. Me and Bubba have to go straight into a 9-to-5. There is no break for us at all. And it's not even a 9-to-5. Sometimes we're getting off the show working into midnight. So having to get up and do this, that is my priority. That's my love. But guys, I'll be tired, but this is where I want to be. So eventually, if we can financially get there and financially be stable enough to do what we need to do, then we'll be able to give you guys so much more pure content.
Man, absolutely. If we just freestyling right now. We just freestyling right now.
Yeah.
We improvise better than some of y'all favorite podcasters do an entire production.
That's what I'm saying. So and they get paid and they do, you know what I'm saying? Like they get paid from the YouTube space. They get paid from all that. And I'm not knocking nobody that watches this because I love you guys. Man,
David, drop my name and just leave my PayPal link up there.
And I know that you guys support us so much. But when I just want you to understand that when we do
exactly, Rebecca,
when we do move and we ask for money, it's not because we're trying to wear you guys down. That's because we want to be here every day with you.
Right.
We want to be here every day for you. I don't want to be where it's like days I can't come because I have to work extra hours to make sure that I'm making ends meet for myself and my home.
Well, I know how to work the algorithm too, sis. So I want to flip it and reverse it. Now my PayPal link is on my screen, and that should be all that you see. Move my name and just let them see my PayPal. Y'all bless your boy. But we're gonna flip it. We're gonna flip it and reverse it. I'm putting bounties. These people cannot hold up to the intellectual weight of now Black person. But I don't know how many of us are wild enough to pull up. Well, I got a wild ass white working class neighbor by the name of Jimmy. He's going to pull up with me. We're going to pull up on a couple of these people in person and just have a conversation with them. We're going to have a conversation in the spirit of the way we have conversations on this show. And if you would like us to bring some equality to the conversation, I'm about to be Queen Latifah. I'm about to be the equalizer out here in the streets, but it's going to be for this rhetorical BS, this propaganda. They're going to have to answer questions about their logical inconsistencies in real time. Because I know, y'all know my brain. I'm data over here. I'm calculating in real time every lie that they are telling. I want them to answer for that. Now, we're going to create bounties, and y'all going to fund that, or else we ain't going nowhere. I'm going to sit in my garage and have fun with Jeremiah. Y'all, Rebecca, that's where I am. Love y'all, mean it. Let me get off here before I ruin my show.
All right, guys. I love you guys. Your show.
I almost passed the hell out. My head and hit the microphone.
That's the way to end today, ladies
Rebecca,
and gentlemen. That is the way to end. Light them up.
Guys, I love you guys so much. If you guys want to support and tip your DJ, tip your DJ. Host, my Cash App is Becca's Voice. That's BECCAS.
You can't do more than one offering at a time. Listen, decency and in order.
No, if you guys want to or not want to, but I'm just letting you guys know.
People can listen to this next year.
Exactly.
Say y'all joints. Say y'all joints. Say y'all joints. All three of y'all. Say y'all joints.
And mine is just Becca's Voice. If you feel compelled, if not, that's all right too. Thank you for watching today. Just Becca's Voice.
Be compelled. If it's 2023, I need you to drop Rebecca a random blessing. James, go.
Mine is DJ X3C. I love y'all, mean it, and greatly appreciate it.
Whatever day you're listening to this, drop each of them a random blessing. I don't care if it's 2050. Bless their children. David, go.
DKG87.
And y'all are all giving them what? Cash apps or PayPal?
Those all three are Cash apps.
All three are Cash apps. I don't care what year you're listening
PayPal
to today.
For boomers.
Today is
David.
is August 10th, 2021. If it is August 10th, 2021, y'all bless me. If it's any day other than this, in perpetuity, and y'all are listening to this, drop these people some coins. Let's get out of here, Rebecca. It's in your hands.
I love you guys. We are at the end of the show, and I hope that you guys have an amazing day. And at the end of it all, you guys know what I'm going to tell you, and that is to keep your mental together today. We've made it to Tuesday, and you've made it wherever you are. I'm praying for you. I love you. I mean that. And if anything, I'm sending you love and light. Have a good day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow with more light.
Love y'all. See y'all tomorrow.
Hey.
Deuces, y'all. We will see y'all in the morning. It is time to go clock in for corporate America. Love y'all, mean it, man. Make sure you support if you can. We love y'all, mean it. Patreon.com/like it or not. Patreon.com/like it or not. Deuces, y'all.
May break my bones, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, I ain't been right more than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me. No, it just can't hurt me, no. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me, no, no, no. I know it's hard to be polite, and it's easy being petty. My mama used to tell me, gotta use you when he ready. Man, it's crazy how my brother said it could've been my celly. It's either prison or a grave, that's what everybody tell me. Man, life ain't a beach, it's a female dog. I'm staying 10 toes down, though I still might fall. Oh yeah, now I done came through, knocking pictures off your wall. Cause loving people who persecute you, there's still a tough light up on my path and a lamp under my feet. I know my faith's strong, but my flesh still kinda weak. When that victory be looking like the verge of defeat, and I feel that disrespect comes
on me, turn my other cheek and say sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me.